Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is Wednesday night, the Hump Day edition of Outlaw Radio. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. My name is Kevin Barnes. I am known in some circles as the world-class smartass, the militant with a microphone, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. And I am the host of Outlaw Radio. And this is what we do. This is the second show of the week. And so it's a little bit more pointed than the Monday night show, which is live from the basement. This is 4-1, the 411 in the 414, right? So I just decided to kind of just put everything together because usually we talk about any and everything that's going on in Milwaukee, aka the 414. Foundational Black Americans stand up. Mr. Carter, how you doing tonight, brother? Can you hear me, Kamar?
Man, I'm great. How y'all doing? Welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely walk that walk, raising vibrations and elevating thought. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you, I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the culture teacher, hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor. I'm your holistic health and wellness coach, Mr. Kamar Carter. Peace. I'm also the one who brings you nature, nature, herbs and supplements, and the House of Vitality. If you ain't been there, you better get there. If you ain't had none of these smoothies, you better get you some. Holla.
Hey, you got my
watermelon.
What's
happening with you, man?
You got my watermelon juice?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, because I got to get it for my son's game. And if you have a delay, Kamar, feel free to jump out and jump back in and I think you got a delay.
All
okay,
right.
So and tonight I have a very special guest. I'm actually very, very honored to have this brother here. He has served the city for a long time, served the community. He's a very distinguished gentleman. So I would allow him to tell you all who he is and what he does. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, real good. Thank you for having me on your show this evening. My name is Dr. Michael Vance. I'm a Milwaukee native, graduated from Milwaukee Public School, worked years in city government as a budget and policy analyst before I became a full-time college professor at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Also served 11 years on Milwaukee School Board, including 7 as its board president. And then I retired in 2018. And since my retirement, I finished a book. Originally, it was 1,000-page on the history of Black Milwaukee. And one of my colleagues at the university suggested I break into 3 books. So I broke into 3 books. And the 3 books I wrote one is called Early Black Milwaukee, 1830 to 1920, The Origins of an Urban Community. The second one is called The Destruction of Black Milwaukee, 1950-2022, A History of Racial Inequality and Injustice. And the third book is Historical Black Milwaukee, 1950 to 2022, the people, events, and institutions that shaped it. And what made me write this book, as a graduate student working on my master's degree and my PhD at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, I found that there a lot of information on African Americans in Milwaukee just didn't exist. So what I wanted to do was pull all the information together so it'd be a one-stop document. But one of my colleagues suggested that instead of having a 1,000-page book that I break into 3 different books, I broke into several books. And the first book I want to talk about is Early Black Milwaukee, 1830 to 1920. That's the origin of African Americans being in Milwaukee. And one of the interesting things I found in the book was that slavery existed in Milwaukee in the 1800s. Many Southern military leaders and business people brought their slaves with them to Milwaukee. Back then it was called the Wisconsin Territory. So you actually had slavery, even though it was banned in northern states, you actually had slaves because when the Southerners came, they brought their slaves with them. So especially
does that debunk the stories that it was Wisconsin was a place that the Underground Railroad was prominent?
No, you still have the Underground Railroad, which I'm going to talk about, but at the same time, a part you never hear was that slavery actually existed in Milwaukee, or what was known as the Wisconsin Territory back in the 1800s and before. And then another point I like to highlight is that up until about 1920, the Black population was less than 1%. And one thing that stood out about that was, even though you had a Black population of less than 1%, you had people who stood up and fought. And you saw the creation of many organizations, some of them which still exist today in 2023. So in chapter 1, I provide some background in terms of the early Black Milwaukeeans and some of the issues that they faced. Like you had one of the first person was Joe Oliver. I don't like using the word, but he was known as Nigger Joe, and he was a mayor, the first mayor of Milwaukee, Solomon Juneau. He was a cook for Solomon Juneau, and he eventually left Milwaukee. But he was one of the first the first black to vote, because when Wisconsin was trying to get statehood, they needed as many people as possible to vote. And they also needed people for property tax purposes, so they allowed Joe Oliver to vote.
And then so for the people just tuning in, it's Outlaw Radio. It's a Wednesday. It's free Sean Moore as usual. It's Outlaw Radio. We're normally on Mondays and Wednesdays. I got my brother here talking about his book, and I want to make sure the people are up to speed on what's going on. Let me catch my chat room. Dion says, good evening. Mama Jenkins is in the chat room. How you doing, Mama Jenkins? She says, good evening, my Outlaw family and Dr. Michael Bonds. Welcome. Erica Hunt. Hey, Outlaws. How you doing, sis? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? And so this conversation, because we're talking about your book, something we talk about on Outlaw Radio all the time is the Great Migration, is kind of switching up from overt racism in the South to this kind of like more institutionalized thing up north. And like the book you wrote, I thought that the focus was primarily on like just really the evolution of how we got to where we're at now, wherever that is, in Black Milwaukee.
Actually, two of them laid down historical. Then the destruction of Black Milwaukee. It goes into depth on why Milwaukee is the worst city for African American to live. And if
let's talk about that one. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, we could jump into that one. And I just like to highlight the chapters and the titles, and then I would just go into each chapter, brief summary, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Okay. The first chapter is the introduction, when I talk about why I decided to write this book. The second chapter is called Socioeconomic Status, the Base for a Permanent Impoverished Community. And what I talk about in that book is that if you look at every socioeconomic indicator, whether it's poverty, income, unemployment, welfare sanction, African American ranked at the bottom or near the bottom of virtually every socioeconomic indicator. The third chapter is chapter 3, titled African American Politics, Incorporated but Powerless. And basically, I look at how African American have become involved in the political system, but at the same time, when they peak, they're really powerless, because politics are limited and you can only make so much change. And I talk about some of the structural barriers, some of the challenges that you face, where even though, yes, you may have more African American elected officials and at the highest level, and you may have more Black administrators that oversee major department, millions-dollar budget, multi-million-dollar budgets, high personnel, there's limitation on what they can do. Chapter 4, I titled Education, a Vicious Cycle of Miseducation. And then there, I basically discuss, when you look at every performance data in the public school, African Americans, children, they rank at the bottom when they compare to whites and Latinos. And then when you look at it nationally, they compare to their counterpart, African American ranks at the bottom. And then I looked at the data across sector, and regardless of what education sector, whether it's school choice, charter school, or public school, Black students in Milwaukee and Wisconsin ranked at the bottom or near the bottom. Chapter 5 is the underdevelopment of Black businesses. There I talk about the different challenges that Black business have, from not being able to get business loans to racial discrimination, outright hostility towards them. I talk about how the city had a public referendum on a minority business plan where they voted down. Then I moved to chapter 6, housing, locked out of the American dream. And then I looked at virtually every aspect of housing, from home ownership, home improvement loan, refinancing, evictions, gentrification, public housing, African American fare worse, once again in that category. Number 7 is a title, Policing with an Iron Fist, Killing, Brutality, and More. And in that book, I list all the police killings I can find from 1948 to 2022 of African Americans in the city of Milwaukee. I found a total of 94. But what I found also there was that in some cases you have several police officers who killed multiple African American over time. Like, for example, John Doe might have killed Jane Doe in 1990, then he killed Willie Doe in 2020, something like that. And then I also talk about the physical rape the police performed against African American females. And I talk about the brutality case, the strip searches. And then I talk about some of the structural barriers that prevented people from seeking justice. And then in crime, chapter 8, I titled Crime, Destruction from Within and Outside. In chapter 8, I discussed the major drug dealers in the city of Milwaukee, the major gangs, and the different serial killers in Milwaukee that created chaos in Milwaukee Black community. Chapter 9, I call it Health, Limited Access, and More Disparities. And basically, I looked at the pattern of hospital closing, and from at one point, what's considered the Black community now in Milwaukee, that was actually where the health center was located before it moved out to Wauwatosa. So I traced the history of every hospital closing that was within or near the Black community. Then I talk about the number of disparities. And one disparity that really stood out was even though whites lead Blacks and the number of suicide committed, the number of Blacks or the percentage of Blacks that's committing suicide has increased significantly in the last few years. And then I end with chapter 10, conclusion. I call it the permanency of racial inequality. And I give my assessment of the future of Black Milwaukee. And my view on it is very bleak. And I hope that people prove me wrong. But when I look at all the data across the different subject areas, Milwaukee African Americans is at the worst, and I talk about it in my conclusion that Milwaukee was considered the worst city for Black prior to COVID-19. And when you look at the devastating impact that COVID had on government budget, private sector jobs, private sector factories closing and stuff, if you're the worst prior to that, I don't see how you can be how the status has improved. So my outlook on
what course do you actually teach at UWM?
I'm retired.
Oh, I thought you were still a professor. Okay, I wanted to. So first of all, let me ask you: did you get any resistance writing this book? Because you were talking about
anybody that knows me knows I don't worry about stuff like that.
No, I mean I'm saying from people like not wanting to share information with you because they don't want to. I mean, for whatever reason, there's this crusade to crumble the truth now. So I just I'm just asking that.
No, I got zero help from the police department in terms of trying to identify the number of officers or the individual who killed.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
African American, like for example, one way that I found out some of the killings, like the Milwaukee Police Department had their annual award ceremony, and some of the ways I found out who was killed was they might have said, well, Officer John Doe on this day shot and killed such and such in this act. So I was able to put together some of the names and everything like that. But I was able to come out to 94 on my own because everybody talk about Daniel Bell killing from 1958, but there's been a lot of Daniel Bells. They just haven't received the publicity that other killings have got. But it's been a lot of, and in some instances, if you take the names of the victim and the officer, the same explanation was provided that I slipped and the gun discharged. So, and then some of the reasons that people have got killed. And besides listening, I list every name on pages of all the African American killed from. Let me just open up the book, beginning on page 155 to 164. So I got 9 pages of African American killed by Milwaukee police for different reasons. And so I list those, and then I highlight certain cases, certain case study. Like one example was, and I actually knew the individual. The police officer shot the guy about 6 or 7 times, and then like the head, the shoulder, the back, or whatever. And the medical examiner determined they couldn't decide if the guy died from the police shootings or a fight he had got involved in early in the day. So there's stuff like that, you know. And then you raised the issue about the major drug dealers and gangs and stuff. And I actually interviewed somebody that was the leader of one of the major gangs, and the police had estimated that the gang had killed a couple dozen people. So I was able to interview people that was actually part of the story I told in the book. I don't believe you could just talk about the other stuff without talking about the negative impact of drugs, black on black crime.
Did we talk about Balistrary?
No, this book was focused on Milwaukee.
You can't leave Balistrary out.
I'll leave that for somebody else to write about. I'll leave that for somebody else to write about. So, but I try to make the book as comprehensive. And one of the things I try to show was that this was over a 7-decade period. This didn't occur overnight. And one of the themes that came out was, regardless of who was in power, whether it's an elected official or whoever, these patterns existed over decades, and they actually got worse.
Right. Where do we get your books from? How do we get the books?
Right now they're available at Amazon.com and also at BarnesandNoble.com. So right now I met with the people in Barnes and Noble, and they said they'd try to get them in the store in the next few weeks. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Shout out to Mama Jenkins. She said her own son.
When you look at the whole story, huh?
I said, shout out to Mama Jenkins. She said her son was murdered by the police. So she said mine when you were naming off the black men at the police. You were talking about black men getting killed by the police. Now, how long have the books been out? How long have you been publishing?
Talk about her.
Say that again, brother. You broke up.
Breaking up for real.
So that's the destruction of Black Milwaukee, and then I was saying that was the destruction of Black Milwaukee. The history of racial inequality and injustice, and the book is current as of June 2023. So I made my last edit to all 3 books in the month of June. So it's pretty detailed and pretty comprehensive. And then if I could just switch gear, because I haven't talked about historical Black Milwaukee from 1950 to 2022. The people, events, and institutions that shaped it. And one of the things I wanted to do there was talk about the contribution that African Americans have made to Milwaukee. I got a chapter on the history of the Black press, newspaper, television, TV stations, radio station, the key personalities associated with those. I got a chapter on what I call Black professional people at the university, Marquette, UWM, MATC. If you want to know who the first Black president of MATC was, who was the first Black chancellor at UWM, who were some of the key people there, like Joan Prince, Walter Farrell. I got a chapter on the Lady Wilson Wills, one of the early labor league, Paul Blackman. I got a chapter on Black, included as Black medical professionals like Dr. Finlayson and Dr. Walter. And then I got a chapter on Black politics where I clarify the first relative to who was the first Black mayor in Milwaukee. You actually had 3 firsts when it came to Black mayors in Milwaukee. Ben Johnson was the first African-American to serve in the capacity of a mayor of Milwaukee. As common council president, and absent of the mayor or the mayor inability to perform the function, the council president becomes mayor, but he's not sworn in. He or she's not sworn in. Marvin Pratt was the first African-American sworn in as mayor. When John Norquist resigned, Marvin Pratt became mayor. He was not acting mayor. That's people got that information wrong. He was mayor. He had the full power authority. He was the first mayor, African-American sworn in as mayor. And Cavalier Chevy Johnson was the first African-American elected mayor. And then I also clarify another point. People talk about who was the first person to serve in the capacity of police chief. A lot of people think it was Arthur Jones. It was not. It was Alfonso Graham. Alfonso Graham was the first person, African-American, to serve in the capacity of police chief. He served as acting chief prior to Arthur Jones.
Okay.
So then I got chapters on history of culture and social events in the community. I got a chapter on what I call landmarks, where I talk about different buildings, streets, parks and stuff named after African Americans. So all that's in the historical Black Milwaukee, because I want to show the contribution that African Americans made to the city of Milwaukee.
Okay. I want everybody out there to get up on these books. I'll feel free to I gotta add you to the People's News Network so you can get the books on there, because a lot of people will be interested in reading them because we talk about history all the time on the show. So I'm glad you came on tonight to talk about your show, and feel free to come on anytime you want to.
I will, and thank you for having me.
No problem.
Okay, thanks
All
a
right,
lot.
my
Have
brother.
a nice
Peace and love. Yes, sir.
Okay, same here.
Thank you.
Welcome. Outlaw Radio. Shout out to the brother Michael Bonds. Got a very interesting book. History is always good to know, right? Shout out to Mama Jenkins for asking me to bring him on.
We went easy.
You know what, Kamar? I mean, Sean. Welcome home, by the way, Sean.
You know it, man. You know it. Give me the applause and the cheers. Come on with it. My man. That's what I been. Thank you. Yeah, and the bells and shit. All the bells and shit. Give me all that shit. Yeah, no move. Give me the Rocky sound.
I ain't got no rocket sound. Calm down. You're doing too much. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. It's the 411 on the 414. I got my man Sean Moore in the crib. And you know what? I shout out to that brother. I have to be true to who I say I am. Shout out to Mama Jenkins. I have to be true to who I say I am. And I'm a very respectful brother. And I respect my elders. And I'm not a tabloid. Okay. And so I didn't want to engage in, sensationalism. And if you know, you know.
Right.
And when somebody says, well, I would rather not discuss something, I ain't the one to twist your arm, right? But at the same time, I'm an outlaw.
You know it.
I can only deal with shit for so long.
That's right.
So I didn't mean, I respect to that brother, man. Valuable information. But I shout out to that brother, man. Get those books, man. Get those books. Dion, if you want to know how to get the book, some of his books, I will get you his information. But it's a lot of the stuff we've already discussed on the show, though. Like I don't know if am I the only one feeling some kind of way or what?
I'm feeling some kind of way, KB.
Okay. I just there's a lot to that, and so I'm not, like I said, I promised myself I wouldn't do that. Now I respect Mama Jenkins so much, I really do, and I didn't, So shout out to that brother, man. Get his book. Welcome to Outlaw Radio, where in the words of Kamar, we talk that motherfucking talk, because we walk that motherfucking walk.
We walk it out around this bitch.
Right, man. A lot going on. They done found some little aliens in Mexico. They done put the bodies on display. This alien thing is creeping closer and closer to us, man.
Who they look like?
They look like little ETs in a box.
Are they melanated?
Nah.
Oh yeah, they ain't. Yeah.
Nah, you know what? I didn't.
They probably is. They probably just fixed the lens so we wouldn't know it.
Nah. Ain't no melanation on this. They on white sheets. If they was when they alive, I don't know. But listen, I seen this footage this morning early, and I'm thinking, is this actually valid? I don't want to share nothing in our group that would be fake news, right? Like on that level. So I just ignored it, and then I start seeing all these reports coming out like, no, this was real. This was Mexican scientists in Mexico presenting to their government saying, here are the alien bodies we found.
I can't trust that, bro. I can't trust that.
Just because it's Mexicans?
Sound racist.
But that sound like hearsay.
Right. That's hearsay, bro.
No,
And
I
I just
seen
left
the
the court of
footage.
law.
I
I
seen
just
the
left the court of
footage.
law. Hearsay don't work.
I seen the footage. They're in there. It's like they testifying, and they open the boxes, and the little ETs is in the box, man. That's what I'm
That could be
telling
some
y'all.
little Mexican midgets.
Once again, y'all being racist. Y'all just doubting it because it comes from Mexico.
No.
Why would
I'm
if
saying our
American
government
scientists
could
did
be
this,
lying
nobody would say
to us.
anything.
I'm saying I ain't saying that the Mexicans lying. I'm saying our
Right.
government could be
Our
lying to
government.
us.
I'm with Kamar.
Okay.
I'm saying our government could be lying. Not the
We know
Mexicans.
they will. We know they will, KB.
So okay, lie about what? I'm talking about what the
This is
Mexicans.
motherfucking alien. They want us
Right.
to start thinking about this shit so they can underlay the overplay for us.
So the
They got a
American
bunch of little
government.
midgets messed up
Wait,
in
hold on, let me
Costco.
get this. So the American government fooled the Mexicans into thinking they found some aliens so that we can be distracted from what's going on. That's
No,
what
they
y'all
I
saying.
wouldn't put it past them.
Man, I believe these Mexican scientists, man. I don't know.
How do
American
we
people
even
is
know
a
that they
trip.
got Mexican scientists? Have you ever
Dude.
seen one? Have you ever seen one though?
Yeah, nigga, you ever seen one?
There's plenty Mexican scientists.
Name one. Name one. Name
Dr.
one.
Fernandez.
Who?
Dr. Fernandez.
Man, that motherfucker sell crack.
No, man, you can't. Y'all racist, man. Y'all
No, man.
racist, man.
That ain't racist.
It can't be Mexican scientists, and this is why
It-
like everybody is tripping in
I
America.
ain't
Like,
saying it can't be no. Hey,
I didn't say that either.
Sean's saying it can't no Mexican.
I didn't say. I
have
didn't
you
say
ever
that
seen
it
one?
wasn't, man.
I don't remember. Like, when the last you ever seen a Mexican scientist?
Bro, listen. Have you ever seen one in the movies?
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I would have to
Come
go.
on.
I'm sure I have, man.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Oh,
Name the movie.
Oh man, you put me
And
on.
don't say Space Jam because that don't count.
I never seen Space Jam, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness, man! This dude said, "Have you ever seen a Mexican scientist?"
I haven't.
Right. I like, man, that's racist, bro.
And name them.
So anyway, right, and name them. Right? He said name them. Like what are we talking about here?
Oh, shit.
Man, I
I'm
want to
feeling
go back
good,
to,
man. You know, freedom tastes good around this motherfucker.
I know it do, bro. I know you feeling real good. I know you ready to let your hair down. That's why
It's gone.
and we'll talk after the show. We'll talk after the show, definitely, Sean. But yeah, man, it's so it's Mexicans that done found the aliens, y'all. And
Right.
I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it, right? Mike Kimmett is he giving me the business? He said, "Man, this is bullshit." They ran a show on National Geographic about 4 months ago, talking about how some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guys appeared through a portal and they was tall. Erica Hunt said Space Jam. Shout out to Erica Hunt. She said Space Jam when I was a kid that came out. Yeah, I never seen Space Jam.
Don't start reminiscing.
I never seen it. I never seen Space Jam. I don't know. It's a lot of movies that everybody doesn't see. Like I've never seen E.T.
That's the Michael Jordan movie, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff I ain't never seen. Like I've never seen that movie.
Oh yeah, I believe you. I was just
no, I know.
talking about.
So but yeah, man, I just wanted to. We don't talk about that some more because we've done shows in which I talk about. I feel like I've always felt like that we've made contact with aliens, and that the aliens are amongst us. I've said that many times. I say that on every show. But now brothers want to just doubt it because it's Mexicans.
No,
like,
that's
hey, Kev, don't get me wrong. I believe in extraterrestrials.
I do too.
Saying, I think
not Mexican.
Could be lying to us about something.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
Why does it take?
They out there.
Why does it take the Mexican government to have these little midget things, and now we supposed to believe them? Why couldn't it be like the
unlike us?
Government?
Unlike us, they ain't scared. They just said, "Man, this is what we found. Put it on the thing." Like, man, got him. Yeah.
So they just found him last week.
I don't know when they found him. It was a crash apparently, and they caught these cats. And they, oh man, we got to show this to the government.
Yeah, they ran out.
They were trying to get away.
They ran out of gas in Mexico.
This is impossible. This is impossible. I cannot do this with you, brothers. Erica Hunt said, "I'm an alien." You are. We all are. I think black people. No, I think all black people are aliens, though. That's
racist.
That's what George Clinton was talking about, man, with the mothership and all that kind of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? He said Ewok in the chat room insulted me. He said Kevin and those other 4 people who went to see LeBron weak ass Space Jam 2. I never seen 1 or 2 Ewok. Like, I don't know what was that about. That was just unsolicited banging on a single solitary outlaw. We don't tolerate that. You can't come for me like that. Now, jokes aside, the 411 is you are free, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
And we see that today, they I guess, or yesterday maybe, the killer of your nephew pled not guilty.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? Because the story was always he came out, shot the dude in the back, shot your nephew in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Right. And went back in the store. So how does this turn?
No. After, so he didn't come all the way out the store.
Okay.
Right. He just like took a step out, part of his body still in, because the guy that was in the store, the older guy, he told us exactly what happened. That when my nephew came in, he grabbed the cakes. Dude was like, get him. He came from by the cooler. And my nephew, he not knowing that he about to get shot, so he just turned around and walked away. And he took maybe 3-4 steps, and dude shot him in the back of his head on the left side, behind his ear, a kill shot, and it came out his right temple. He then turned around. The older guy said he put his hands up and started backing out the store. He said maybe 30 seconds later, he came out and he started walking south.
Okay.
I spoke with the young lady whose house he went to, so that was factual. She put him out. He then came back to the store and lit a cigarette up while they were starting to perform CPR on him. And he stayed there until he finished the cigarette and casually walked away.
Okay. So he's going to trial.
Yeah,
okay.
Dumbass.
But your protest is still going on, correct?
Oh yeah. We gonna speak about that too? The latest event?
You home. He's
I'm with that shit then. Outlaw, nigga. Yeah, fuck them. So last night, I was at the house putting on my winter clothes because it was cold. I'm getting old. The weather affects me a little bit differently now. And right before it started raining, I heard about 7-8 shots. So the young lady I was just talking about texted me, asked, were we all right? Because I hear shots. When I get over there, everybody's gone except for this one guy, which I hope he won't come back anymore. He was over there and he never told me that they were shooting. So I didn't know about the shooting at our tent until this morning. And I was out there all night by myself, man. And they shot at the tent. There's 3 holes in the tent. So yeah, man, they trying all type of tactics, which I believe is to get in the store to retrieve a book bag. I have a witness that's willing to go to the district attorney so that a search warrant can be gotten so that they can go in the store and get this book bag and see what's in the book bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me catch my chat room. Shout out to y'all if y'all just tuning in. It's Outlaw Radio, the 411 and the 414. Shout out to Brother Michael Bonds and his books. I really encourage people to get his books. He was on earlier. Go back and check that out. Mike Kemet, I should say, says, let me clarify. They ran a show about the ancient Mayans meeting those blonde hair white aliens that appeared through a portal. I remember that. I've seen that. When you talk about UFOs and aliens and all that, ancient aliens. Erica Hunt said all good-hearted people are aliens. All nice people are aliens.
Well, I ain't no alien. Fuck them.
T.R. Arthur said they found an alien in somebody's backyard in Vegas. Oh, they swept that up under the rug quick. They swept that up under the rug.
Because he wasn't Mexican.
Oh, man. Ruben Anderson said, according to US Today, that footage from Mexico
Here comes valid. A conspiracy.
He said it's valid. Yeah.
Conspiracy theory.
Erica Hunt said Kevin wouldn't tell me why you went to jail. I didn't tell nobody why he went to jail.
Okay, so let me clarify. I was on the run for 5.5 years. Okay. I was initially arrested for false imprisonment, armed robbery, and kidnapping after the owner of the hotspot coerced E. Banks to make these false statements. So when I went to court, they dropped it to disorderly conduct, which I didn't want them to do. I wanted them to keep those original charges because I wanted to confront the officer and the person who made these false statements. In the process of going to court for that, I got arrested for 5 counts of felony theft of more than $10,000, which I did take some paperwork out of the store. It was some receipts, and when I told them what I took, they dropped it to 3 counts of misdemeanor theft of a movable object paper, which I had never heard of. So, I was just all like, fuck this. I'm out here fighting for justice. I'm not going to walk into a situation where there's no justice at all. So I chose to go on the run and gather evidence to try and prove my innocence. I gathered more than enough. However, the people that I sent it to, because I was on the run, they failed to utilize it, i.e. Vince, Tony, and some others. He kept his license, but now since I'm free, no hold, no restraints, no restrictions. The judge, when I seen the judge, after I spoke, the judge told me that I didn't qualify for probation because I didn't have any needs. He stated that because there was no request for restitution, he didn't believe that part of the charges. And the man told me, said, I can't give you community service because I asked for $5,000. And I explained to him that the only way I can keep his kids safe is if I make sure our kids are safe. So he told me, he said, well, since I can't send you to community service, I'm going to send you to 14 days, time served. And I want you to go back out there and continue to do what you were doing. So he has unleashed me on all these mugs out here perpetrating and fronting like they really doing something. And I'm in their shit.
Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home.
And I don't have any additional felonies, so that means I can apply for my pardon. And once I get my pardon, I may run for one of these seats that need to be taken, just to show these people how you're supposed to work for the people that put you in office. Now, I don't need 8 years to get a pension. I need 2 years to show a motherfucker how it's supposed to be done, if that.
All right. Hold on. I got action in the chat room for you.
Tell me, come on with it. Oh, one more thing. I gotta clear this up because she said she wants to come back on the show. Today, I was talking with Mama Freeman, and when I told her what she said on the show, she told me she did not remember saying that, and that she would never say that. I said, Mama, you told them people that I was getting paid, that this man was paying my rent. She said, Shine, I promise you, if I said that, I must have been joking or I must have been upset. And I'm like, well, you need to let them know, because people are now doubting my word and questioning my integrity.
Hold on, I'm gonna talk about that, but hold on.
Yeah, let's talk about it. This
Erica,
Outlaw Radio, baby.
Erica, the reason why I never went into exactly why the brother was apprehended is because I felt like, number one, that he would eventually be back to tell his own story, and number two, the law says, and I'm talking about a different kind of law, you don't put your man's business in the street like that. It just don't happen like that. If you know, type thing. Like, if anybody who knows him like that knows why he was gone. So the that's why I didn't tell you, but I'm happy he's here to tell his story. And absolutely, he was saying, Erica, they shot at the tent at the protest where they're protesting right now.
Yeah.
Someone took some shots at the tent
last night.
Ewok said, Kev, you know, if you grin, you in. You got me Monday real good. Yeah, I had to get at Ewok about his Bears losing on Monday.
They got their ass whooped.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Ace, what it do? He said, what up, fellas? What up, fellas?
What it do?
Mama Jenkins said, that's what I'm talking about, Sean Moore.
You know it, Mama.
She said, say that. Erica said, say that because some seats need to be taken. She said,
we trying to take
I
5
understand
seats
why you didn't say anything. Huh? What'd you say, Sean? You muted. He don't know he muted. Or maybe he on the phone. I don't know. He don't look like he said nothing to us. Let me see. We got a caller. Caller, you live on Outlaw Radio. What's the dealie?
Man, you know it's the number one real nigga, man, for real. It's D, man. What's happening? Welcome home, Sean, boy. On love, boy. It was good to see you, boy. On love, I rolled down on you that day down there on Titanium when you and my nigga Mike was down. I was like, man, I know this nigga ain't get locked up, man. God damn, boy. I know you happy to be home, boy. On the real, you ain't, that county jail, boy. I know you like, God damn. You a man, I don't know how you made it through that, man. God, motherfucker too old to be locked up, Sean. I ain't gonna even lie to you, man, but I'm glad you back, man. For real, man. Huh?
He done dropped it. He dropped his call dropped. Let me bring him back in. Let me bring him right back in.
He can hear it though. He can hear it.
My bad.
Can you hear us now, Sean?
Yeah. Now
okay,
I can.
Go ahead, Dion.
Yeah, welcome back, man.
You know, man. You know, freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, on the real, man. Man, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, my nigga. I die up in there right now. I ain't been locked up in man about 13, 14 years. God.
It's some different shit going on, boss.
Listen, I don't want no trouble, man. I tell on the police, man, they put them handcuffs on me. I'm telling them something. Just give me some money. Let me go buy a control buy. I don't want it, man. Hell no, man. I did, man. Listen, I damn near did, man. Listen, man. I damn near did 3 years. I did 4.5 years altogether, man. You know what I'm saying? Back and forth. Man, I'm not with none of that, man. But it's good to see you, man. It's happy that, you know, you back out here flexing with us. You know, I wonder what my nigga Real at if he listening, man. Peace to Real. My nigga Fool as always, you know, Ham House. You know, Kev is good looking, man. I definitely appreciate your platform. You know, love the call, you know. I appreciate that brother Michael Bonds being on early, man. I heard that brother once before on another platform about that book, enlighten us on some things. You know, a lot of times, man, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out here that don't know a lot of stuff. I was talking to a white man today, and I was just telling him how, you know, you guys bleed red, white, and blue, but everything that they told you about people that look like me was a lie, you know, and these police, man, you see where they shot that boy in Philadelphia, Kev, then they killed that preacher in Atlanta, man, around the country. See, that's why I like when we come on here, so much stuff that we can't wrap it up, man, because there's so much stuff going on. I understand that we got to talk about home. But believe me, man, everything, once you hit around the world in all 50 states, man, it's going to correlate to what's going on back here, man. Yep. And it's like, these people crazy. It's scary, man. It really is. Because you never know if these hunkies got it out for you, man. Listen, I drive semi-truck. I'll be going up and down this road 41. I see a sheriff or one of them state troopers. I get nervous, man. I be telling the people at my job, I say, listen, I'm black. They like white people don't understand that, man. When you black, you got a target on your back, man. Yes, I don't care even if you at work. You could be at work. You just heard not too long ago, I don't know if you heard it, but they didn't want to serve a truck driver at Denny's. Who that called for? Sean, man, listen, bro.
That wasn't me.
I put a little thing on there with Kev. But yeah, you smoking them cancer sticks, man. Listen.
That wasn't me, bro.
You gotta have wind out here because you sleeping in that tent at night. Them boys get the shit in that motherfucker. Yeah. You gonna try to run, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't Sean who called.
Oh, okay. But still, though, he smoked cigarettes, though. You know what I'm saying? So Man, listen, it's been almost 5 years I ain't smoked a cigarette, man. I want my win because I started thinking, man, these young niggas out here, they try to challenge me, and then I got to put the hands on them real quick. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so much going on, man. It's just so much going on, man. I love you, brothers, from the bottom of my heart, man. I enjoy us. Hopefully we can have a Man's Day again. Where we can meet down there, or we rent out a hall or something. Just let me know. I put a little money. I ain't got a lot of money, but I put a little money on something just for us and the people that listen, where we all could come together and meet each other face to face. So, because it probably been times where I seen Mama Jenkins out in the street, didn't know who she was. It might have been time I seen other people out there in the chat, didn't know who they were. I want to know who my people is. So if I ever see you in distress, because I ain't gonna lie, I'll walk past some shit like that. Shit ain't got nothing to do with me. But on my mama, nigga, on Larry, on Dave, if one of my people need me, I'm gonna ride or die. You understand what I'm
Larry
saying?
and Dave.
I ain't lying to you. Larry and David, and you can't say Dave without the king, Kev. Always remember that. I'm gonna let you brothers go, man. Y'all can keep campaigning. You feel me though?
There you go.
Love, bro.
Love, bro. Appreciate you.
Peace, man. Gang banging ass. I like how he slipped it in and got the fuck up out of here too. Talking about you got to say king. I don't gotta say king. I don't gotta say that. Hey, I want to shout out Eagle Eye Security. I forgot. Shout out to Eagle Eyes Security. He is sponsoring our show, and you're gonna start seeing his logo affiliated with the show. He's our first sponsor in a long time.
That's what's up.
And you see the ads for the show. Share the ads when you see them. A lot of stuff coming down the pipe for the show in terms of how we promote the show and how we
give yourself an applause, Kevin. Give yourself an applause. All right, that's too much. That's enough. 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 That's enough.
Yeah. So shout out to Eagle Eyes, man, our sponsor. And I got to get that. I'll get it together. I know he like, damn, you ain't gonna say nothing, but we just getting it kicked off, man. So a lot of movement, man, is about to happen for how we really promote the show. Now, Sean, I think the question that people wanted to talk about. Let me go to the chat room.
Let's get it.
She says she want to know if the conditions are in the jail are as bad. This is Erica Hunt speaking, by the way, are as bad as they say they were, as people are saying they are.
The second day there, my face started feeling numb, and the bones of my legs started to ache. So the nurses came. They took my vitals. I don't know nothing about blood sugar levels. So when they told me 65, 66, I thought it was normal. She sent me back to my room. I wouldn't go. I called Mama Jenkins. And Mama Jenkins did her thing, man. They came back to see me, and the other nurse took my blood sugar like, oh no, this can't work. I was maybe 8 points away from going into a diabetic coma, and they were going to let me. So the conditions are worse than they're telling us. Honestly, I've seen people in there, man, that they can't count to 5. They so messed up, but they got them locked up, and they're not giving them the medication that they need.
Okay. Let me see. Eagle Eyes, he says, Sean, if you ever need security out there for a few hours, have him hit me. Man, Eagle Eyes, my brother, because I got started out with my brother Michael Bonds here, so I just got tripped up. I got to big up that again. Shout out to Eagle Eyes Shaw and Eagle Eyes Security. I'll let Sean know that y'all willing to contribute when he comes back. I don't know what's up with his connection. Ruben Anderson said it's very messed up there. Erica says, I was told they keep yes, due to mistreatment. When we had Vaughn Mays on the show, he talked about he's gotten messages from guards and inmates. And so we know that the conditions got to be pretty bad. And he said when he was on the show, he was saying that the problem is like you got, I guess, mentally retarded people who are like pissing and shitting and they're not cleaning shit up. And I say mentally retarded, I meant mentally ill. I meant mentally ill.
Not KB, that's not even, that's not as prevalent as one would think. It's the denial of medical service. It's the denial of medical attention. That's why them 27 brothers locked themselves in that library. It wasn't to cause a disruption. It was to bring light to the fact that they were not receiving the proper medical attention that the state says that they're supposed to provide these people. If not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, I'm going to the district attorney's office, and I'm going to demand to speak to somebody, because those charges need to be lowered or removed. Those people have a right to medical attention, and if they're not getting it, you can't charge them because they don't want to die. I don't care if they are in jail for allegedly this crime or that crime. They haven't been found guilty yet, and you should treat them like they're human regardless. So I will be getting involved in that too.
Mama Jenkins in the chat room getting on your ass, Sean.
What I do now, Mama?
She said, tell him, Dion, I be telling him about them cigarettes. He need to grab that detox from Kamar and get clean. They on your ass, boss.
Man, tell Dion to stop snitching.
Caller, you live on Outlaw Radio. What's on your mind? 411 on the 414.
Hey, what's good, Cav? This Rude.
What's going on, my brother? How you doing tonight?
Don't you get on here and start snitching.
I'm all right. I see what you're listening. Y'all politicking for real tonight. Yeah, Sean, welcome on, man.
Yeah, he snitched me out today, bro. He snitched me out today. He told Mama on me.
You said what?
I said he told Mama on me. He told on me this morning.
You talking about Ruben?
Yeah, you don't listen. Yeah. You don't listen to me, so you know you don't listen to me. So I had to go to the boss, and Mama Jinx is gonna make sure you hear the message. You know, you gotta listen. You're too hyper. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the meeting the other night where we were when they were all coming at Miss Ball, Sheriff Ball. Actually, I had some compassion on the lady. I really did. And I think more so because the way the white people was coming at her, the way they was, oh, Miss Ball dropped the ball, you know, they all their little anger things. But, you know, the jail is messed up. I got about 5 different clients up there. And it's beyond messed up from what I understand. I'm starting to get concerned about the mental health issue up there. I thought we was past that. I thought that they had stopped prosecuting these people like that, but apparently they didn't. But to answer her question, yeah, it's fucked up beyond recognition up there. Nobody's really safe, or, you know, it's just terrible. We don't have any mental health there. We don't have anything there. I think it's important that we start trying to make some plans with some of us brothers who have graduated from those streets to perhaps, you know, start, you know, put in a proposal and go up there and start having conversations with these brothers up there. And I think they need to see us. So that's, you know, my small, you know, contribution, or what I feel would be a solution to,
He said, let's do it.
Shit.
Yeah, I wrote a proposal today to Ms. Ball. Wrote her a letter letting her know that would be something that, you know, the community could probably do. We could get up there and start doing more man-to-man groups and things like that. Not so much the church today ain't trying to hear it. But
I got a question. Maybe you can answer this, Ruben. Since we're talking about trauma and mental health, right? Since we talking about trauma and mental health, I know of an organization that's based out of Freighter Hospital and a medical college. Don't they get funding to do that type of work? 414 Life?
Yeah, you know, but see, once again, there's a critical difference between practice and theory, you know. I mean, you know, you say you're going to do it, but at the end of the day, you know, it ain't being done. So I think it's important for us to start, you know, coming together. Like, you free now, you know, you got a passport now. You can go up in there as well. Just go in there and start laying it down in terms of, you know, trying to silence a lot of that mess that's going up there. Because as you remember, Sean, one of my clients was, his mother was putting like probably about $400-500 a week on books because her son was being, you know, extorted up there. So, if we could probably get a few guys together. I'm still looking for the 5,000 people in the tuxedos and see if they ever gonna bust a move on something. I ain't seen nothing from them at all. I'm just keeping it 100.
Ruben, you taking shots? Yeah, Ruben taking shots.
No, I'm just proud of hearing it, man. I said that's the whole picture still stay in my head. All y'all, suited up outside the county jail on a Saturday when it's closed. What was the purpose? And then all those exercising in the tuxedos, what did they benefit from? We haven't seen anything out here. We haven't heard no more from Mr. Ellis at all, or even his crew that came out against me with threatening my life and stuff. But once again, a tree is known by its fruit. They all do the same thing just for, I'm going to talk about them bums. I can't stand them boys. But at the end of the day, trees is known. You already know what to do. I just want to say, man, I'm glad you're here. Slow down. Don't worry about it. That corner, I think Mama Jenkins probably told you about it today. Sometimes, bro, we just got to take a step back, because at the end of the day, and I know you're not afraid of anything, and I'm glad of that, but you still got a target on your back from that 27th Street stuff over there.
Man, look here, man. Check this out.
Be extra careful.
No, I don't. You know what, man? Listen, like I told somebody today, for 5.5 years, God blessed me to be out on these streets. Then he set me down for 10 days to re-energize me. Now he has re-unleashed me. And there is no pause. There is no half stepping, right? I watched people push the pause button for 5.5 years. I watched people half step for 5.5 years. I watched these kids dying for 5.5 years, and everybody around here getting paid, but ain't nothing being done. So yeah, I'm challenging every motherfucking body that say that they doing the work and they not doing the work. And if they got a problem with it, I ain't got no holes. I ain't got no probation. I ain't got nothing. You ain't got to come see me. I'll come see you.
But Sean, I did address that with him today, in the ideal, because after he told me about the shots, I told him on the Jenkins I'm going right now, let him know at the door what it was. And like I told him, I don't care about all that personal stuff and what you do, and we can talk politics, we can talk you wrong and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm a black man, and that's a black man. If something happens to him, then, you're going to find out what niggas really do. And I just had to put that out there, because I think we need to know it.
Ruben, let me ask you this, though. I'm not even to cut you off, but what was the result of the judiciary hearing? Because it was supposed to be a ruling.
So after all the officers and stuff was crying about they didn't do anything. What they did was sought to set it over, and nobody really wanted to make any decisions on it. They didn't want to vote on it or anything like that, just like the thing with the body cams. They really didn't want to do anything besides talk about the report. And, and one of the supervisors were on her case real bad, some white dude, so we got at him. But at the end of the day, I didn't see anything that was actually done or what they're going to do. All they basically was saying, you need to get your house together is what they were saying. So there was nothing done. Okay. And I think she stood up for herself pretty good. At the end of the day, I'm gonna say it like I said to these people. You just can't absolve all accountability to her for that. You want her to be the burden bearer for this whole thing, but this is larger than that. And I think an attorney made a point of it, saying, I don't know why the district attorney's holding all these people with mental health up here. It's the district attorney who's flooding the prison. And in my opinion, based on everything I've heard and read, I think they really trying to push her out.
Okay. So
they don't want to.
So let me ask you this, because I had we talked about this when Sean was in there. At one point, the county had outsourced control of the county jail to somebody, right? Like a security firm, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at one point they did.
And then so is this now? I know, rest in peace to T-Buck, Terrell Thomas, who was murdered.
Big dog
in the county
big
jail.
Dog. Yes, sir.
Murdered. Say his name, right?
Yes, sir.
He was murdered. Now, did they get rid of this company? And I know there were some deaths after that. Did they get rid of them because of those incidents? When did the county take back over? Take the whole control back over?
They, I've never heard anything. When that shit happened and everything like that. But based on what I heard at this meeting, they pretty much crying, man, saying, "Hold up, we don't have the money to staff this." And they came back and said, "Well, we gave y'all some money for something else." So, and I think at the end of the meeting, everybody got silent because I pretty much told them, I hate police and everybody knows this. But at the end of the day, these people just sit here and pour out their hearts to y'all, tell me they can't handle it. They need some help. So I was like, either y'all get them some help or we're going to have to make some personnel changes. Or they got quiet.
Okay.
So I don't know the direction that place is going. All I know is that we have to make it a point to pay closer attention to what's happening in the criminal justice system. I was in a court hearing, and I realized that Judge Mark Sanders was actually a district attorney before he became a judge, but these are actually district attorneys walking around in robes like they judges. You know what I mean? So we have to really if we get rid of John Chisholm, we can probably see a slow decline in the number of people who are being forced into the jail system. I say forced because a lot of the cases that we get, these are so petty, but they're holding them in there. I got a guy up there now with mental health issues. He simply just took a shit on the ground, and y'all been holding him up there for over 10 months. So, and nobody said anything about it. Now, he's scheduled to be released now after talks with these people. He's scheduled to be released sometime next week, they're saying. But, it's stacked the ship. Ain't nothing but a slave ship anyway. And I would just say this too, and I may not draw a lot of, support for this, but at the end of the day, like I said there, a lot of it's up to us. If these brothers want to go up there and have 3 meals a day and y'all not listening, you see what's going on and you still want to be there, then go ahead and do it then. Go ahead and take your seat amongst the other impoverished people and find out if you like it. So, there's a lot of change that need to come about. We're working diligently with the Department of Justice in Washington to get at the Milwaukee County criminal justice system, period, for all the things that they do. So Erica, there's a lot coming forward.
Erica Hunt is asking, is talking about, because I was saying it was Allied Security who were the deputies. That's where the deputies were coming from at one point. So my question was Allied Security, are they still involved? Did anybody bring up the fact that
they just do the transport now, KB? They just do the transport now.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was never brought up. I think the thing that we focused on more because we had to go at HSU this past weekend about Sean, me and Lena, and also Mother Jenkins.
Shout out to Lena Taylor. Shout out to Lena Taylor. And listen, I want to say this too, and I said it after I spoke with Mama Jenkins. People talk a lot of shit about Lena Taylor, but shout out to Lena Taylor because
listen, I gotta say something. Because me and Lena, we've had our differences in the past, but like I told her a couple weeks ago, I said, I love the attorney Lena Taylor. I might not like the politician too much, but I don't like politicians, so that's not nothing personal. But she came through, man, and she's continuing to come through.
Yeah, she did. So I talked to her.
And I applaud her.
About 25 minutes. Yeah, we talked for about 25 minutes, Sean, and at the same time, she was getting a phone call, and I was getting a phone call, too. So she was there. Sometimes, I've always been I've been in opposition to Lena for a long time, but me and her had a long talk, too, at one of these brainstorming events, and she kind of changed my mind about her, and I understand, what position she in. Me, myself, personally, I would take anybody over Johnson, to be honest with you, and I would endorse her at this time if she ever wants to be mayor. I think that she would probably do a great job, especially in these conversations that I've been in around the table.
And Lena's been on the show many times, and I hate that the last time she was here was drama. So I hope she don't feel like.
Let me throw something.
Hey, can you, Sean? You want to move your Qdoba bowl out the camera? Motherfucker, just
you seen that, huh? You seen that, huh?
He's so happy to be home. He eating Mexican food. Like,
I'm trying to turn into an alien.
After he just insulted Mexican scientists.
I'm trying to turn into an alien, bro.
I just wanted to express again, like I said, like the importance of these people in leadership like that being in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being able to be reached, being accessible. You know what I mean? That's important. I said that a while back, you know what I mean? And then it also create, like right here, it create opportunities for people to gain a better perspective of each other too. Because you get to know them better. They get an opportunity to show you that they here for you, you know what I mean, in the way that they can be. You know what I mean? So it's important for them to be accessible like that and to be in the community. I always thought that was dope about her.
Yeah. She'll put them tennis shoes on in a minute.
Yeah. Anybody can get her number.
Right. Anybody can get it too.
Hey, but I'm getting ready to get off of here, man. We got a flight at 11 o'clock, so we're gonna get ready to get up out of here. But I just wanted to say, man, I really, a lot of things have turned my focus. Whereas before, even the meltdown with me and Sean.
Sean, put the bowl out the camera.
Oh, my bad.
Would you put your food down? What the hell? I'm about to turn your ass. I'm about to kick
that
you
shit
out the
getting
studio.
good.
A big ass bowl in front of the camera.
The man is eating his last bowl of noodles, man. Let him enjoy it, man.
Shit.
Don't start that jail
Hey,
shit,
it's been
bro.
real, man. Y'all be easy, man.
All right,
Pray
bro.
our traveling grace.
All right, man. Y'all travel safe, brother. Y'all travel safe.
See y'all on the 21st, John.
All right.
Yeah,
now.
you know it.
All right.
It's going down, baby.
Mama Jenkins said, wow, Ruben calling them out. She said, Sean, you know there's a lot of snakes and remember smiling faces. She also said,
I got my boots on.
She said, Mama Freeman needs to come over here and look at what she said at the meeting and on the Outlaw Radio show. She said, is she dealing with Alzheimer's? All right, Rube. So I don't know if she's dealing with Alzheimer's, Mama Jenkins. I don't know. Dre, what it do, homie? Man. Hey, man, hit me up, Dre. My partner, man. One of my Chicago friends by way of Milwaukee, of course. Or Milwaukee by way of Chicago. Shout out to Dre, man. That's my guy, man. Talk to you in a minute, man. Still doing what I do, Dre. I'm so the conditions in the jail are horrid. I'm glad that's put out there. But he said they basically didn't do anything. It seemed as if they were actually trying to shift the blame over to the sister. What's her name?
She's the head of the snake, bro.
You said she is?
She's the head of the snake, though. I mean, she's in leadership, so of course it's gonna fall on her. It has to fall on her. It can't trickle up. You know what I mean? It has to trickle down. And she's the head of it, and she has the authority and the capacity to make change in that jail. She's already made some major adjustments that has allowed people to get multiple phone calls and all that. So if you can do that, you can continue to make changes.
Okay. It is Wednesday night, man, and it is Outlaw Radio. The 411 in the 414. Hey, I gotta talk about this. I don't know if this was karma. I don't know what this was. Your boy Aaron Rodgers, man. 4 plays in the game. He blew a tire. Some people say, they say Aaron Rodgers, if you believe in all of this Holuska and all this stuff you do in the universe is telling you need to stop playing football. Listen, honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and I know this is just a little football moment for y'all, right? Because we do a little sports stuff. I was wishing Aaron Rodgers success. Because I've always thought Aaron Rodgers was one of the better quarterbacks I've ever seen. I just couldn't imagine that four plays in, he tears his Achilles and he's out for the season. And at the age of 39 years old, an Achilles injury can be the end of it all. And so it's crazy. But I kept saying, like, my thing with this whole Aaron Rodgers thing was for me, he thumbed his nose at the people of Wisconsin. People say, well, he's Green Bay. He was in Green Bay. But I just felt like he thumbed his nose at the people in the community, man. So, I think him going down like that, and I hope his career ain't over, but he faces an uphill battle. But, man, that just goes to show you.
My bad. I got
you. Caller, hold on a minute. It just goes to show, man, the grass ain't always greener on the other side of the fence, man. But, Godspeed, man. I hope dude is okay. But he won't play this year. Won't be no New York Jet Super Bowl from him, at least. Hey, Blast, what it do? You calling on accident? Oh, there you go. I think he's in line ordering some burgers or something. Hold on. Get fries, too. Let's see. Sair is welcoming Sean back. I think he's
what it do, homie? I need to come on the show.
His Mexican food. He said, welcome back, Sean Moore, and good evening, Outlaws. How you doing, my brother? Welcome to the show. Y'all share the show. Shout out to Eagle Eye Security, our sponsor, Eagle Eye Security LLC. I got to work expeditiously to get these logos up so we can promote our new partnership with this brother and his company. Sean, he said you let him know he could send a few of his security people out there for a few hours later at night if you want.
We need them out there, man.
Right. So maybe you and him can hook up.
Yes,
Mama
sir.
Jenkins said Senator Taylor worked for me that day on getting Sean help. She did what she did, and she returned my call. Zaire said tomorrow, if you free in the AM, you can come on, Sean.
I got a doctor. We got to go on NOV at 8. I got a doctor's appointment at 9:15. I should be done by 9:45, 10 o'clock. You let me know what's happening. I'll make it work.
Vaughn Mays in the chat room. He said, yo, what it do, Vaughn? How you doing, my brother? Sean is home now, and he was talking about the conditions in the jail. Ruben was talking about the conditions in the jail, and you had been on talking about the conditions in the jail last week. So that is the role of the conversation right now. And then I started talking about Aaron Rodgers' leg going out. Right. Achilles pop. That's an old man injury for real. And I don't know if it's just athletes who deal with this, but I tore mine. My best friend tore his. A lot of the cats that I played ball with and whatnot, the Achilles goes. I don't know if it's just a strain you put on as an athlete when you're young or when you get old, it just pop. But man, that's an old man injury. Like, I don't know. I feel like somebody shot you too. It's the worst thing in the world. Let's see. So Sean, get in touch with Zaire and set that up so we can go on there on Hard Hitting Radio. Ruben said good job the other day. I think he was talking to Zaire. Yeah. So it's Outlaw Radio, man. We were just talking about what's going on in the city, man. And earlier in the show, I had Michael Bonds on. He was promoting his books, 3 wonderful books. Go and check those books out, especially if you enjoy history. And we've spoken many a times about the Great Migration and how people matriculated up from the South, and the population in 1950 being 20,000 black people to almost 200,000, or about 100,000, I should say, by 1959, 1960. And then it became the nigger problem. What we gonna do with all these niggas? And it's been going on ever since in Milwaukee. So go and check those books out, man. I especially if you don't know. And I somebody said, that was Dion. Shout out to Dion. He called in and he said, you have to appreciate it because some people don't know this stuff. See, I know it. And most of the people who listen to Outlaw Radio know about the history of us in this city. But it's good that he put it on paper. Vaughn says the meeting happened. It was interesting, but still dealing with cases of mistreatment and bad conditions. Said he had a meeting the following day to resolve 2 cases with detainees with serious health issues that were being neglected. Sean, you spoke on it being people not receiving medical care, health care.
Yeah. And I want to say to Vaughn, I plan on going down there this week, man. I would love it if you would join me down there so that we can address this district attorney about these 27 people that I believe have been unjustly charged for standing up for their life.
And they most of them are charged with misdemeanors, though, right?
I don't know what the charges are. They shouldn't have any charges, though. Not when it comes to trying to get medical attention so that they can live.
Okay. Unfortunately, I feel like they'll say, no, we got to set a precedent if people are going to, protest in the county jail. I feel like that's going to influence them still getting hit upside the head. That's just my guess. Shout out to my sister Booker. She said that's right, Sean. Go ahead, bro.
If the conditions were humane, then I don't believe they would have had to protest. Like I said, I was there 2 days, and if it wasn't for Officer Thompson, because she called down to the captain and said, this ain't happening on my shift. If it was for her and the other nurses whose names I don't want to mention because I don't want them to get in trouble. Nurse Watson and Nurse Choma, the ones that tried to send me back when I was on my way to dying. They need to be removed, though. They need to be removed. Those two callous bitches.
Okay,
Lousy callous.
hold on. Just
What?
be careful because you don't want to make yourself susceptible to some sort of slander or libel lawsuit. And I don't need to get sued for the shit either.
So I'm not lying.
Don't say their
I'm not
names
lying
though.
about
Don't
them
say their
being
names.
callous bitches.
Okay, but
Because
don't say their names though.
Oh, why not? That's who they are, though.
I wouldn't want to see nobody.
Those were the nurses. Those were the nurses
knock at
who
the
tried
door and
to
you be
deny
like,
me
huh?
medical attention.
Okay.
And this is Sean Moore saying it. You cannot hold the host accountable for what I say.
Well, there's a better way to say that. The opinions expressed on Outlaw Radio. Hold on. The opinions expressed on Outlaw Radio are solely those of the motherfucker that said it. No who be mad at. That's our disclaimer. There we go.
Right.
Okay, so Vaughn says, let me see. He says, absolutely, that was a protest incident. They were meaning to bring attention to the conditions. Yeah, I thought that from the beginning. I didn't think it was just them being, let's fuck it up and lock ourselves. Like, who does that? Erica Hunt said they have nothing else to lose. They better use their voice. And Ruben says, I was advised about the planned protest in the jail 4 days prior to it. Oh, okay.
Thanks for telling everybody.
Eagle Eye says, maybe we can get a lawyer to bring attention to the situation. I do personal protections for a lawyer. Or I'll run it past him to see what he says. Okay. And his lawyer friend has been on Outlaw Radio before. Look, I want to tell y'all, Eagle Eye's security is one of our sponsors. If you have a small business, if you got something going on, please inbox me because I have all kinds of opportunities for you to promote your business on Outlaw Radio. We have to support us. And if you have a service, whatever you're doing, it's going nowhere unless people know about it. And I know that Clear Channel tries to break your back and all these different places. Holler at me. You know what I'm saying? Let me help you promote what you do. We love to work with people in the community, man. So if you got something going on out there, you say, I'm just selling popcorn, or I'm just whatever. It's levels to how we can do it. Just hit me up and we'll put, because a lot of times we promoted people shit for free anyways, but that's just coming to an end. So in moving forward, if you are really interested in doing business, well, we have one. We've had some in the past, and I think Eagle Eyes is a very strong proponent of Outlaw Radio. He appreciates the platform, and that's the kind of person I'd rather do business with. So when you see those ads, share them. There's gonna be more and more to come, right? When you see those promos, share them, man. Let me see. Sean says, he said, I think if Kimberly Motley has the time and interest, she would tear them a new one over all of this. Okay. Kimberly Motley. Let me see. Mama Jenkins, she said about Dr. Bond's books, it is a lot of information, and the case study that he did was phenomenal. I know just keeping up with some of the things that's happening in the city is overwhelming. Just in case you don't like reading, try it on Kindle. Okay. There you go. Mama Jenkins with my, and shout out to Dr. Bonds, man. Shout out to Dr. Bonds. Shout out to Dr. Bonds. And any other person that's trying to do something positive and progressive, man. That's what I'm saying. The 411 in the 414. What it do? That's what we're talking about tonight. 262-202-5131. It's aliens in Mexico.
No, it's not.
It's alien bodies, carcasses.
Those are little midgets dressed up like that.
Ruben says, Sean, why would I tell what they was planning when I didn't think they'd do it? Okay. Yeah,
so that you got people on standby just in case something like this happens. Then we can go outside and we can protest like we did with the freeway. When they held Vaughn in that jail, they were not going home to get any rest until Vaughn was let out. Vaughn was the last man in there. We were not going anywhere, right? They need support on the outside when they do stuff like that, especially if it's righteous.
Okay.
So
I seen, shout out to my Miss Beverly, man. She put up an article about this whole situation with the OVP. And she, man, letting them have it. It's in the People's News Network from her page or from her group. Take a stand today and always. And she's talking about the way this ball has been fumbled. But she also stated that there are a group of people who are owed money and who have been given the runaround, man, by this OVP and haven't been paid for work that they actually did. in the community.
I actually have some information on that. You know, I'm telling you, I'm in everybody's business, man. I'm in everybody's business. It's the same thing that was happening with the ambassadors. It's those departments, man. Whatever department. Supposedly, that's why they're rearranging their department because of this finance problem. They're trying to get away from whatever entity it is that they got to go to get money. They have people that have been paid in months, but that money is there. Why is that money being held when you know that there's work being done?
Right. I would think no matter what difficulties you were having, I would say, man, at least pay people. Like if people have gone out and done this hard, this tough, this work, man, like how damn shame on you for not making sure they get paid first. You're supposed to have that in it, and then to give them the runaround. Oh my goodness, man, this shit gets worse and worse. And that's why, you know what, when Dr. Bonds was on the show talking about his book on how politically Milwaukee has there's been issues and how there's been a failure in leadership and stuff like that. That's what goes on, and it continues to just happen. It's like somehow, some way, we got to figure out a system to hold these motherfuckers accountable, man. For real. Like it's like you say you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Rumor said we're not dealing with those individuals. Shit, not many moved when I shared that you were in a health crisis. I just feel they're not solid. He said he has trust issues. Shout out to Ruben. We all got trust issues. Erica Hunt says she a partner with Royalty Tax Services LLC. Look out for Erica, the tax pro. Tell everyone that I can get your wallet the royal treatment.
No, buddy, Erica, you ain't fucking up my money, Erica.
We had to do business on business, Erica, because we have to do things with people's. I'm really talking about putting people's logos on, having people to just be able to come in and do segues. You can be your own commercial on Outlaw Radio, and it won't cost you. I mean, I think the return that you would see on it just from creating awareness about your business would be worth it in itself, right? So y'all definitely keep an eye on that.
What the hell is that?
Let me see if I can get this. Caller, what's popping on Outlaw Radio? It's the 411 on the 414. What's happening?
What's up, Outlaws? This is Erica Hunt from the comments. What's happening?
What's good? What's good?
Don't be putting no false narrative that I'm finna mess up your money. First off, all of my clients have been satisfied, and Royalty Tax Services is a 5-star rated company with both Google and the Better Bureau of Business. Okay, so don't do us like that. You need to let me solve some of the tax problems you got.
I just got out of jail. You can't blame me for that.
I don't know why Sean always wanted to argue with Erica. I don't know what it is about. He just he wanted to go about the union. He was actually pissed because I think I didn't do a show, and he's like, "Dude, I was supposed to get Erica about talking about the union tonight." I'm like, "Okay, well,
no, now you snitching too, bro."
Oh damn, was that snitching?
Yeah.
What Dion say? I tell
that we need to be snitching.
Dion said,
but I think it's because he like arguing. You said you don't know why he want to argue with me. I think it's because I'm pretty and I sound nice. How about that?
I don't like arguing. I just like debating and winning, and I think you are an easy win.
Damn.
Oh, you think I'm an easy win?
I said this Outlaw Radio. I'm free.
I ain't never been easy.
Who want it? It's right here.
Lord.
Let everybody tell it. I'm a very difficult person to deal with. How am I easy?
Wow.
Don't you see it?
He's feeling this stuff tonight on an extracurricular level.
Yeah.
He's cocky tonight. Listen, but he's.
Let me get back to my class.
There you go, Erica. She ain't got time for your bullshit, Sean.
Talk to y'all later.
All right, peace, Erica. Oh man, Sean Moore's in full bloom tonight, man. I don't know.
Outlaw, my nigga, outlaw.
That Mexican food got you all worked up.
It's the midgets. It's not the food.
What else is going on? Let me look around because I had some other stuff. Well, we were talking about I hear people in the community. Okay, so this is the thing, and I got to get somebody on here who's really a money person because we talk about home ownership and things of that nature. So I see people doing these things and they say, you ain't shit if you don't own no home, you don't own a building, and you ain't really having no money and this and that. And I put a report in the People's News Network about the skyrocketing price of homes right now. And I don't know if anybody out there is in the market of looking for a home, looking to purchase a home, but the shit's through the roof right now.
Yeah, it's rough.
And so, at this point, if you are to, and anybody who's a money person, you can chime in on this with me. It does you no good to pay an inflated price for something that when the market ultimately bursts, which it's going to have to, you're not going to be able to get back what you put into it.
Right.
So, we got to curb. Sometimes we got to stop running off saying, well, go do this right now and rush people into high interest loans for overpriced property instead of saying, stack your money and work on your credit and wait till the market gets better.
Hey, you know what that is? That be people watching, that be them videos they be watching on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like them little quick 15-second videos where a motherfucker jump in there and say that, buy your home, build your credit, and take this much out the bank, and now you got $100,000 or some shit.
Right.
Like
start flipping homes overnight.
You know what I mean? But they don't talk about all the research that you got to do and all the work that come behind all that shit to really be able to do that.
Right.
Here we go. I'm not telling anyone, if you are in a position right now, right? You worked on your credit, you have enough money, you want to purchase a home, and you looking at this market. I'm not going to tell you not to purchase that home. I'm saying be smart, because it's right now with the status, with the state of the market, it's easy to get duped right now. And it's easy to pay some extravagant price for something, and then in 5 years when you go back and look at your property value, you say, what the fuck? How am I upside down in my mortgage? Let me see. Mama Jenkins is in the chat room. My chat room is popping. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Let me see. Yes, I hear you're right, man. You're right. Erica wanted to smoke with Sean. She called right in, like, don't do my hey. She called right in on his ass. Mama Jenkins said, I'm 72 years old and I'm sick and tired of marching. It's time to have a seat at the table and change these fucking laws. These stale ass laws been on these damn books for centuries. Until they make changes, things will never change. Yeah, but then don't we have to then charge the ones who are in office to make those, to change the laws, right? Like,
that's weird. Yes.
If we don't pay attention to who actually makes the laws, and shout out to Lena Taylor again, because she's come on the show many times and said the problem is people don't understand civics. They don't know who represents what, and they don't know who to go to. And I think we don't pay enough attention to the judges and to the Supreme Court judges. Just like Ruben just talked about, this rash of district attorneys walking around now that are judges that was never nothing but a DA who did nothing but lock niggas up, and now he's a judge. How do you think he's going to rule on anything? Sayer says that you and Erica give Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes.
Come on, Sayer, man, we're not gonna do that.
She said more likely OG Unc and great niece. I'm thinking like Medea and Joe. I was okay. Maybe that was bad. I mean, you ever seen? But on Medea, they be ripped. They be going. They be
funny, don't they?
That should be hilarious, man. Because he be killing Medea. He be killing her, and it's him dissing himself. The shit. That's what is funny. Vaughn says gentrification. They only want corporations and high-end buyers to buy in bulk if possible. They did it before. Y'all are aware that right now the city of Milwaukee is under assault because there is a large number of real estate investors who are purchasing property here who don't live in the city. They live out of state. Out-of-state investors are coming in here snatching shit up.
And that's why we need to challenge these local laws, these regulations, remove some of these stale-ass leaders, right? These motherfuckers old as 30-year-old bread. Get the ass up out of here. You already got your pension, and if you ain't got it, too bad. You won't be getting it. We cannot continue to recycle the same ideas from the same tired ass people that's been doing the same tired ass shit. Like I said, we try to remove five order people. The coalition I'm a part of, Community United for Peace and Progress. we want 5 of them seats, and we want new people in them seats with new ideas that not only listen to the residents, but are available at any time to the residents.
Okay.
We need to send a message, and the message needs to be a very loud and clear message. I
have to be very honest. And shout out to Vaughn, because he said the word that always stay in my brain anytime we start talking about what's going on in our city, because the reality is gentrification is already in effect.
Yeah.
And I think it would be kind of naive of us to believe that the powers that be would do anything that would benefit people of color at this point. Because I feel like, and even the other night when we talked about the rash of immigrants, you see races and cultures of people popping up in the hood now that there was no Hmongs anywhere in our community when I grew up. There were very, if any, Latinos.
They gonna whip your ass.
And even you see now a lot more white people moving back. So the writing is on the wall for Black Milwaukee. I always say, y'all keep on clowning. They're just gonna gentrify that shit. I mean, because you think about what makes sense. Does it make sense to pour millions of dollars in these kinds of programs into these people who don't want it? Or is it easier to just move them around? Because you already got all the poorest people boxed in the city, coincidentally, thanks to redlining and whatnot. So let's just take that community and move it a little bit west or a little bit south or a little bit north, however we want to maneuver it, and put our people back in the prime real estate, which is the north side. Fuck what anybody else says. The north side of Milwaukee is the most prime real estate in this city.
Yes.
Sitting right on the expressway, sitting right on the lakefront, right by downtown. Everything, you ain't got to get on the expressway, nothing. Boom, boom, pow. And they looking at it like we fucked up when we ran off and left that shit. So they want it back. So yeah, gentrification. I agree with my brother. That's and with what they are doing downtown. This is what made that picture of Mayor Johnson with Fonzie smiling with the Kool-Aid smile so funny to me, because the look he had on his face, it was just almost like yep, y'all asses is gone. I don't hear any policies coming from downtown that would combat gentrification, right? Mm-hmm. And what brother Dr. Bond said about all of the negative socioeconomic statuses and whatnot, they are rock bottom for us. So yeah, there's a plan here. To me, there's a plan here. Let me see. Erica Hunt said, according to my realtor, it's important to prioritize saving money and maintaining a good credit score since the real estate market is not favorable for buyers. Yes, that's what I'm saying. This market is not a buyer's market. And people, if you let somebody hype you up, and because a lot of people out here living above their means. Some people got a mortgage and they probably own my shit in there, and they ass is behind or struggling to pay it, right? And shout out to you if you ain't. Yeah, Kev, I ain't got that problem. I own my shit paid for, whatever. I'm saying you got a lot of people who don't know, who try to influence other people, and you end up with a bunch of people who don't know. More people who don't know. Eagle Eye said it's good to buy and fix up and flip houses right now, but I wouldn't buy a house for my family right now. Vaughn says we need serious people in seats, not people who just looking for a come up or power with political aspirations. Right. And unfortunately, those are the kind of people that whole thing kind of usher. You get those kinds of people who really just got this thirst for power. Ruben said, hey, please tell people to be on the lookout for Kyle Bronte. He is wanted for the murder of Shabrika Chapman on 9th Street. He was booked and released and failed to turn himself in. Kyle Bronte. Okay. Why did they release him? Damn. What the fuck is going on?
Can I say something about that comment?
Yeah.
I agree to a certain extent, okay? And the reason I say to a certain extent is we see what we've gotten from these experienced leaders. Not a damn thing. If we can place people in there that know that if you fuck up, if you don't do what the people want, we'll pull your ass out like we put you in, right? I believe that we can vet the people to put in place. I really do. And what they don't know,
but Sean, you ain't gonna do that with an 8% voter turnout, though. Like, what do you got to do?
Like I just told you, man.
What do you got to do to get these people to vote? It's them living in. Listen, the most impoverished people are the people who vote the least. Because people who get a little bread vote.
Look, bro, do you trust me?
It depends on what we talking about.
Do you trust me? I got a plan.
Depends on what we talking about.
I got a plan, right?
I trust that you have a plan. How about that?
Okay. And like I stated, honestly, we have over 15,000 signatures. Okay. And a lot of these signatures have asterisks by them because they're a part of CUP. They have agreed to be a part of CUP, and all I'm asking for is 2 votes. Just 2 votes. One in the general, one in the primary. Once you see what we can do as a people, that's all we need is 2 votes. If we haven't showed the power of the people in what we are doing at this gas station, then people need to go back to sleep and wake up, because this isn't just in the 1st district. This is a citywide effort. We have people from all over the county.
Because they won't. A lot of these people don't even know the difference between the primary and the general. Vaughn says in them properties, he said them properties be fucked, and there are no caps or laws on housing that protects people. Not to mention these electeds also own properties and are slumlords,
and so that's what we got to get rid of
against themselves.
Yes, sir. That's why we got to get rid of them. That's the reason right there.
Yeah, we've had sitting aldermen who has come out, and Russell Stamper, I remember he had a huge
I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that, bro. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Well, listen, I'm not that careful. I'm just when it comes to private citizens. Okay. What you got to know is when it comes to a private citizen, you do have to be careful how you say their name. A public figure is up for whatever, but when you say somebody's name that is not a public entity, you can get in a lot of shit. I'm just trying to help you, brother.
I ain't worried about it.
Erica said the problem is there's a large majority of people who believe their vote doesn't count. Absolutely. Vaughn said we are the only race not allowed to benefit from the segregation. Look, everyone else who is segregated. Look at everyone else who is segregated. Yeah. See, don't they have shit set up that benefits them? That's very true. Like everybody got their own shit, and it's usually popping, and our shit always be raggedy. Raggedy is a black word. There's no such word as raggedy, by the way. Erica said, have you ever taken a look at who owns these properties? A lot of them hold a position of power, and a lot of them are out of town. I'm telling y'all, there's right now a big rush of out-of-town investors, and a lot of them really, to me, what I think they are trying to do is say, when they get this shit gentrified, I'm going to be in the Airbnb business, because when you come in for the Brewer game or whatever festival you come in for, I want to have me a nice property sitting over there adjacent to downtown where you can walk and sip lattes on the sidewalk. Because if you're not from here, you don't give a shit. Like, you like, no, it's an Airbnb. I'm never living in that shitty ass city. Let me see.
You see, and that's the thing right there, though. It's all about solutions, right?
Right.
So it's about finding a way to beat gentrification.
Right.
How do you stop
what
it?
I'm saying? Like, they say everybody can't go. You know what I mean? If you ain't gonna figure it out with us, then you can't go.
You can't go.
Figure out ways to get money and be able to stay here. Because that's what it's all about. The whole thing is economical.
Yep, it's an economic war, man. And we not even in the war.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like Vaughn said, you know what I mean? We don't got stuff set up for us in our community. You know what I mean? Well, I think people starting to take initiative now. And you know what I mean? They setting up different shit before we can go and learn from each other at least.
Yeah.
I think we on the way up. It ain't gonna happen overnight.
Now, Erica's in the chat room. She's asking how's this brother who Ruben was talking about get released, and he says that they claim they were waiting on some more evidence, but it was a murder. Tiarsha says they probably can find him in Chicago. I hope they catch him soon. Erica says I have a one-on-one conversation with people every day and open their minds about how this all works against them. Ruben said the brother's headed south. Y'all want to find him? He's headed south. Crystal Ship, she said corporate Airbnbs are the move. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if I've got some regional meeting here or something, And COVID changed the world where people don't really want to be boxed in no more. Like a lot of people are nervous about staying in hotels because they worry about the sanitation factor, right? And they say, man, it's not safe. You got variants of COVID and all this. I'd rather do an Airbnb, Bob. Okay. Well, I found a nice home that's 5 minutes from downtown, just needs a little remodeling, but they say spit and polish, and they fix it up and it's super slick, and you come and stay there for a couple G's a night or whatever. That makes sense as opposed to having endless crack houses and trap houses, as they call them. But why now? The rest in peace to Chris Johnson, because that's one thing Chris was doing as a black man who had property. And he used to tell me all the time, Kev, the rental property is not the lick no more. What you do now is you get these properties and you fix them up and you turn them into Airbnbs. And as a matter of fact, it made it even more sad that my brother died when he did, because it was the end of the summer last summer, and he had just told me how much money he had actually made off his Airbnbs for that summer. He was like, it's the first time I was ever really able to turn a profit like this off my property, rent, refinance, whatever. And this is all free and clear because the properties are paid for and I've had them forever. Right. So you're right. Crystal Ship, those Airbnbs are the move. Tiarsha said, why does the city of Milwaukee allow slumlords to keep getting away with violations and later put the people out? For example, the apartment building on 27th and Wells, those tenants have been complaining for the longest. Is that the loft that we're talking about, or is that one? Is that? I know there's a loft that they just completely shut down.
Yeah, so high.
And then there's another one. There's another group of apartment buildings, and I gotta go get the name. They were built on so I guess some old industrial land, and it's like polluted. It's like you used to call them brownfields, but now they call it something else. But it's like they had to move them out. People was getting like cancer and getting sick, man.
Yeah, it was on top of some fucked up land.
Yeah, and it hadn't been properly cleaned. She said, and those people have been complaining too. Crystal Ship said we have traveling doctors, lawyers, nurses that come here all the time, and many have bought houses to contract with the hospitals to stay to guarantee. Yes, we just had MPS that was supposed to put some teachers up. MPS dropped the ball on it. Good old MPS, man. Mama Jenkins says Sean put the ambassadors back on the ground and the young voters campaign. Speaking of our people owning property, first they need to learn how to take care of shit. The question I always ask, why do our shit always got to look raggedy and look the worst? Eagle Eyes, he said it costs to have rental properties. I was a landlord for 5 years, had a duplex on the east side. People call landlords slumlords, but what about the landlords that keep sticking money in the properties and messing them up quick? I had slum tenants. Listen, yes, I did the real estate, I did the rental property thing for about 5 years, 6 years. And I didn't want the properties that I had purchased. I'm not gonna lie, they was in the hood and they wasn't in good shape. I spent a lot of money putting into the property.
Yeah, well, no, trying to. He got that shit from Pratt, from his neighbor.
No, actually, I didn't.
I'm fucking with you, man.
I know, I ain't tripping. Come on, man.
On, man. Hey, he said, I admit they were in good shape.
No, when I bought them. Oh no, they was fucked up when I bought them. My brother and I went to one of the properties when I first bought it, and I'm probably about 28 years old. I was happy. I just bought me 2 cribs that I had rented out, and I told my brother, "Come on, man, let's go ride and let me show you my properties." And we went in the first one, and he said, "Look," and tapped me on the shoulder and pulled the sink, and it came loose from the wall, and we could see all the way in the basement. So I had to fix all of that, and I did. As a matter of fact, one of the tenants who was there was so upset because I wanted my rent on time. I ain't got time for all the bullshit. I guess she thought, she didn't understand at that time I was working 2 jobs, and I was clean. I had a nice whip, brand new lack, all kinds of shit, and she thought she was funding my lifestyle. So she didn't want to pay me my rent. So she called the city in, and they gave me every violation you could possibly give. And they made her put the rent downtown in an escrow account. So I had to get the house. Me and my family, shout out to Rock. Get better, Rock. You know we love you. Chris Terry, get better, man. Get better. Prayers for you. Rock came in and did the floors. I had carpet put in, new doors, new everything, rebuilt the porches. And I had tenants who would just fuck the shit up. Brand new doors put on. Come over to get my rent in 3 weeks. The screen's kicked out. My son and his friends was playing. It was that type of shit. And it just drove me out. I just said, you know what? I don't even want to do this shit no more. What's happening, Sean?
So I got a shift tonight. I got to get ready to get up off here, man. I ain't been asleep since Monday. On the 21st, we will be going to the licensing committee. We ask that everybody come down there, man, because this is about everybody. And you know, if you want to know more about CUP and what the plan is, reach out to me because there is a plan. I'll explain it to you, and it's not no Russian technology. No, it ain't no Mexican scientists involved. None of that shit.
Wow.
You know, it's a real plan. It's not no super shit. It's real simplistic. You know, it's about us. Just like Alderman Pratt changed the law so that he could ruin the black bar business. We need to remove those type of aldermen so that we can return to owning. We can start to reestablish ownership, and this should have changed, man. So I gotta take a nap, man. I love y'all, man. Vaughn, I'm gonna be reaching out to you, man, so we can go down here together. And anybody, man, that want to do some work, I mean, I work with just about anybody, unless their initials are RM. Yeah, I'm not working with him, but anybody else, we can do some work to try to fix our city so that we can keep our city. This is our city. We the majority in this motherfucker. We shouldn't have to move around. They need to get with us and figure out how they can be compatible. We don't have to be compatible with them. They need to learn to be compatible with us, and that means that they got to break bread. They got to come to our table. So let's build the table so we can start setting the motherfucking table, and we can decide who sit at the table.
Gotcha. Welcome
Love
home.
y'all,
Welcome
man.
home. Yes,
I'm out. Peace.
All right, my brother. Man, shout out to Sean Moore. Happy to have him back. Shout out to Rail. He said he wasn't feeling well. Shout out to the Juice Lady. The Juice Lady's going to UW. She's going to school. So she had already told us she has class on Mondays and Wednesdays, so she'll drop in when she could. Shout out to her for going back at her education. That's very important. Mama Jenkins said that building, Kamar, is the old Briggs and Stratton on 32nd and Center that we were talking about. Erica said anything on 27th to 35th in Wales is a slum. It's a very rough patch of land, man. Eagle Eye, you right. He said you're only a slumlord when you ask for that rent money. Well, we got straightened out. I got mine straightened out because once I got my thing, once I got it right with the city and all that, then it was for sure like, now I'm not playing. But it's a tough game, man. And I was told at that time by my uncle, who actually had brought me in, and he had said a couple years and flip. And the mistake I made is not flipping. I held on to him, and I just anything outside of 2-3 years of rent, I think you risking it. But I mean, like I said, I went through some stuff, refied them, got a bunch of cash off of them, and I still was doing okay. But it just wore on me just eventually. And then if people know, they know. Then I just ran out of steam, man. My mom's passed. When my mom's passed, I said, I'm not doing nothing. I was like, I don't feel like doing shit. So that went with it too. I was like, man, I'm finna get rid of these goddamn houses. I ain't got time for this shit. So, but my wife and I, we're discussing now, like, okay, what's the possibilities of being able to do some more investments in real estate in the future? So we'll see what the future holds, man. But I never again like that. I would never operate again like that. I would go more towards where Chris Johnson told me about real estate now than if I did it. Now, I was young then, though. We talking about years ago. But I was young, man. Erica said people who live locally and rent properties underestimate how much it is to renovate these properties. And that's how come they become slumlords, because they don't calculate correctly. And some people just don't give a shit. I know some people that were in the business the same time as me, and they told me, like, I'm not putting a bunch of money in here because they're just gonna break it. So I do everything low budget. And like I'm one of those dudes who, like, especially if you living in my property, I don't think you should ever live with roaches and rats, right? Or mice. And so I used to always tell my tenants, like, first of all, make sure you keep the garbage, nice and tidy outside. You can't have garbage bags and shit laying everywhere that attracts rats. And let me know. And let me know if you got roaches or something, because I'll come over and I'll bring the exterminator, and people say, I don't know if it was their pride, and be like, no, I ain't got no roaches. And then I come over to fix the sink or something, and it's like roaches everywhere. And I'd be like, I asked you, did you have roaches? Why didn't you tell me? I would have sent the exterminator over here. It was just a crazy game, man. I would do it differently next time. Mama Jenkins said we did the rental shit also, but I don't want to own nothing but this house I'm in now. People don't want to pay rent, man. And don't, God forbid you rent to your family. Lord have mercy. Listen, y'all, the biggest screw job that I ever dealt with when I had property was with my family. And I was told by my uncle when I got in, whatever you do, don't rent to family. And I ignored it, and I paid the price. Family is a fucking trip when it comes to that shit. Like, I mean, I got horror stories, and to this day, I got family that walk around and look at me like they don't owe me money. It's like, you just go, you about 2, 3, 4 months. I had one cousin who was probably about 4, 5 months in me, and was ducking and dodging me at family events. Right. And so now when I see her, it's like, hey, ain't no hey, and get back, unless you got my money. I still remember. But yeah, man, family fuckery with that rental shit. She said, yeah, Sean talking about Mexican people when he full of Mexican food. He just got done eating Qdobas and shit, big ass bowl on the show. Crystal Ship said, I'm a residential property manager near Shorewood, and my tenant destroyed the apartment. We had to throw out every appliance, and it took 2 months to fix. Yes, they will, man, and move out on you, and you don't get your key or nothing. So you got to get the locks changed. I literally had some people run off because they owed me money. I had to go in through the window, and we had to get all new locks because I couldn't get in my crib. And I was like, okay, you left. You didn't give me just leave the keys. And people. Man, it's a trip, man. If you in that game and you maintain it, you're a bad boy. Eagle Eye said, I messed up with renting family and friends. You think they would have more respect for you, but they, man, horrible, man. Horrible, bro. I'm telling you, I have multiple family members who I had real drama with behind this shit. Like, for real? And my uncle just looked at me and said, what? You don't listen, do you? He said, what? Why you don't listen to you? And he had like 80, 90 of them. So he was big in the game. And he was just telling me, but I couldn't run shit how he did. He did everything Mississippi style. It was crazy. Mama Jenkins said, my husband made me sell my property because I was going to jail because those bitches would talk shit when it was rent day. I beat the shit out of this girl about my rent. I put my sister out. My mother stopped talking to me. I put her ass out. Mama Jenkins whooping people ass and putting her mama out of the mama, your ass got to go too. Damn. That's some gangster shit right there, Mama Jenkins.
Before you lose your shit.
Right. I mean, you know what, Kamar? That's why I laugh when you said slumlord, because I actually had a situation, man, where I had a young sister who had probably about 5 kids, and it was wintertime, man, and she just wasn't paying me. And I could have really did some cold foul shit. I actually let this girl stay there until spring. And then my brother and I went and just moved all her shit out. Like, I hope, started taking her shit out. Like, I hope you got somewhere to go. And so we took it to wherever she said and left her. But I just didn't have it in me, like, to send the deputies over there. Because, you know, you can go downtown and pay for the deps to go. I just didn't want to do it. I was like, dude, I can't. Them kids, man, they don't deserve that shit. At the same time, I don't deserve to be fucked over either. But I just felt more for the kids, man. So I didn't do it. I waited. But yeah, and luckily I was able to do it financially. But she squatted on me for about 3-4 months, and she wasn't family either. She just was. I'm just trying to keep the places rented. Eagle Eye said you hit the family topic as I sent it on my comment. He said they the worst ones to rent to. Yeah. Man, family, man. Woo. business and family is just sketchy. It's just this, it's always some bullshit when you do business with your family. Like you can sell your cousin a car, and if something go wrong with that car, oh, this shicey motherfucker gonna sell me a car that need brakes. Man, since I bought that car, I had to put ball joints on it. It's like, dude, the car had 115,000 miles when you bought it from me. It was sitting on bricks behind my house. You begged me to sell it to you. I sell it to you now. I'm a used car salesman. Family, man, they just they get you in some shit. Erica said, I'm not sure if you know this, but there's a such thing as property loss deduction when you file your taxes and you're a landlord. I didn't know that at the time. What I did know at the time, because I had somebody who used to help me out with my taxes, I could claim and write off a lot of things, especially by me doing a lot of maintenance myself. And I would get a lot of tax breaks, and my tax returns used to be woo at the end of the year because I had all these write-offs and I had receipts and everything. So it'd just be like, so I used to get fat. You thought I had 5, 6 kids. My wife used to be like, how is you doing that? I'm like, these properties, man, I'm doing write-offs. Let me see. Maybe that's what you're talking about, property loss. I didn't know what it was. I was young, man. Erica said, I've had several clients get their money back and they've invested in their property. Yeah, I got when I refied, I'm telling you, I refinanced, I got a lot of money from it, cash money. And I put a lot of it back into the property. It was just like, you can't put a wig on a pig, right? It's gonna still be a pig. And so just the areas, they say, what is it? Location with real estate. I should have paid that some attention because I went right down in the pit and got some property. Tiasha said, I understand there are some effed up tenants, but there are some good tenants that has effed up landlords. This is true. She said, years ago, I had a slumlord and my dad was coming to the house and making repairs. The landlord only wanted rent and always said he'll be back to make repairs, and he didn't do shit. So it's not just the tenants. No, and actually, when it comes to squatting as a landlord, your rights are very limited because you got to go through a process to do an eviction and you got to pay. So a lot of times it's loss of rent. It takes the time to do it. The time you have to wait to be able to do it. And then when you finally do get in your house and it's fucked up and you got to get it back up so you can get somebody else in there. Now you got to go in there and do work and maintenance. You lose a lot, man. The tenants really, they get the benefit of the doubt. But it's true. There are some slumlords, obviously in Milwaukee. Damn well there's some slumlords. Just got done talking about the story about the sister who's living in the Barada property with maggots falling from the ceiling. And while she's taking a shower, maggots falling in the shower and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, we know it's some slumlords in this city. It's anything that has to do with poverty is an issue in the city of Milwaukee. We're affected by it. The Black community is affected by it. Whether it's the failing school system, whether it's the job, lack of real viable employment within reach, housing, access to healthcare. All of the stuff Dr. Bonds was on here talking about in his book are entirely true. And they're all things that reflect our community in Black Milwaukee. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do, Kamar. That's why I love Sean's optimism, and I love the fact that we got brothers and sisters out here who still are just trying to get something done. Because I'm gonna be honest, I gave up a long time ago. I gave up on thinking, and I'm not gave up living or fighting because you can't do that. But I gave up thinking and hoping and praying for people to do the right thing. I just became resigned to the fact that in our community, this is just how the shit's gonna be, because they haven't shown an ability to change, or the willingness to change, I should say, not ability. And I lost faith, man. My times doing when I indulged in any kind of activism, I was always deflated when we would go out and put our lives and our names and our identities and our safety on the line, and I come home and turn on the news and it's bullshit after bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. It's like, dude, what's the use? It's like walking all the way up a hill to fill up a bucket, and you do that 3 or 4 times only to realize when you get up with the last fill up that it's a hole in the bucket and you ain't you got no water. I done did all this shit and I didn't know it was a goddamn hole in this bucket. That's how it feels. And so that's why I said, you know what? I'm just going to retreat back to the Chocolate City Studios in beautiful Northwest Milwaukee. And that's where I've been at ever since. I haven't lost faith in my people. I guess I did. I guess I have, Kamar. I guess I have lost a little faith in us.
Well, that's possible. You know, I just feel like I always say it, you know, we got to work on creating our own lives. You know what I mean? Building ourselves up. You know what I mean? The community we live in is toxic. People talk about you. You know what I mean? If you leave, they talk about you, and if you stay, they kill you. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's about moving around and still finding a way to figure out how to help something. You know what I mean? Like right now, I can't be trying to help everybody. I got to help myself first.
Right.
I got to worry about my family first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Get my family up out this toxic shit first.
Yeah.
And then I could show somebody the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I said, man. I felt like I just need to put the focus back on my people, my own people in my own house. I still believe that the best thing that you can do, if we say, well, what can I do just as a regular person? I think you could raise your kids, clean up your property, even if you're renting, clean it up, keep it, you know, keep your area clean, be productive, get up, go be an asset to the community. And then shit will change. You don't got to be lead marches or, you know, out here doing demonstrations. It ain't all about that. Eagle Eye said he's out. Shout out to Eagle Eye Security, our sponsor, Eagle Eye Security. Peace. He said, great show tonight, Outlaws. Had a witch doctor save my page. Yeah, I got to hook you up with him so we can do more promos, Kamar. And I think he wants to get some access to your page so he can. Because we're trying to do the
Kamar Carter, Kamar Carter, KAMAR Carter, CARTER.
I'll send him your mess. I'll send him your info.
Yeah, that's cool.
And once again, I want to reiterate, if you're listening, shout out to Eagle Eye Security. If you have something you want to promote on the show, or you're looking for some sort of relationship to sponsor Outlaw Radio and become a part of what we do, please hit me up. Let's talk business. Don't call me asking me for no coupons and shit. Just call me and let's talk business. And let's do us. Erica said, I almost gave up when there was a consistent attack on my character by leaders of the community. It's not necessarily because community members who are uneducated about the issues. Shout out to Freya Gwen. She said, hello, Kings. How you doing, my sister?
Hey, Kev, you know, a key to happiness is figuring out how to not have so many expectations of people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you said, you feel like you're losing faith. You know what I mean? That's because you was expecting too much. You get what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with it? You was expecting too much from the people.
Kinda, but come on.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we expect excellence. We want excellence. But you know what I mean? Right now, unfortunately, we ain't there yet. We working at it. You know what I mean? So like,
but my expectations they're not like
that's like
astronomical.
Right.
They're not unrealistic.
But that's like expecting somebody to be like you.
That's not how I'm referencing it. That's not how I'm referencing it.
But it is. I mean, I don't know. But I just feel like
I don't expect anybody to. That can be very faulty. If you saying you expect somebody to be like you, I'm not. I expect minimal achievement. So check this out. In a disenfranchised city of minorities that is 40% minority, I would expect at least a 15 to 20% voter turnout instead of 8 to 10. And 20% is a low, like that's low. So in a city where there's been a repetitive loop of drugs, crime, death, in that order. Drugs, crime, death, crime, drugs. Last 40, 50 years, you've seen this vicious cycle. You saw the systematic removal of resources and access to resources. That's not a mystery to anyone any longer. So I expect that there's a minimal amount of people here who would say, let's do something better. Let's do better. And the percentage is always way smaller. And I'm like, well, I lowered my expectations. And I'm talking about like Milwaukee public schools, right? Like we see the situation going on with our kids, and we've seen how this thing has deteriorated. And we are more actively removing our children from the schools, myself included, sending them to private school and sending them to charter schools, than to demand that Milwaukee Public Schools, who we pay taxes to, who is a great beneficiary of our taxes, we don't demand shit out of them. So it's no wonder why a Superintendent Posley, who makes $200,000 a year, people say he seems callous. Like, he seems, how could MPS? Well, nobody, who's holding him accountable? I mean, of course, there's requirements to keep his job, but the community, they're not demanding anything, and they're not doing anything. I just seen a football game. Shout out to my brother Demetrius Rice, who was an MPS school teacher, and I coached in MPS for a very long time. So I know that unless you're winning, nobody's coming to your game, right? But you know what MPS misses a lot, because when it comes to high school football and athletics, basketball is a little bit different, but football, parents don't come to their kids' games. Like, when they're little kids and they playing pee-wee football and all that, oh, it's packed. The park is packed. When they playing pee-wees, they coming with the pulling up, and when it's high school, they don't come. So he showed an MPS stadium, Custer, which is renovated, by the way.
Yeah, look
and
good.
modernized in a beautiful facility. Dead
good.
empty. It was dead empty, Kamar. That in itself is an indictment on our support for our children. It's a picture. Yep. It's an illustration. Now, my son, like I said, I put him in private school, so he plays in like the Metro or something. So I got to go to Pewaukee. I got to go to New Berlin. I got to go Waukesha South. These stadiums are packed. Mm-hmm. Whether the team is good or not, the parents, the people, the adults in it, they're there. There's sponsorship banners hanging all around. The local businesses, everything, they're there to motivate their kids. And I say, that's disappointing to me. That's the kind of shit that makes me say, when I taught school and I'm doing parent-teacher conferences and nobody shows up, and I'm a special ed teacher. That's why I said I'm done with this. I'm not going to teach anymore.
I agree.
Only time I see you come through my door is when you coming to check Mr. Barnes. No. You Mr. Barnes. Well, let me tell you something. Oh, you the mama. I ain't been able to get in touch with you all year, but he went home and told you I said something crazy to him. Now you coming to check me. There'll be no checking Mr. Barnes today. Have a seat. We'll talk like adults, or we won't talk at all. And you go get whoever you want, principal, chancellor, superintendent. He ain't gonna have him, Captain. Erica Hunt said, hey, Kev, we might have to talk about doing an outlaw referral code for royalty tax services this year. Let's talk business. I ain't turning down none but my collar. Let's talk business. It's time for Outlaw Radio to get paid for what we do so we can make it better. It has to be made better. Everything has to grow. And it takes money to do this shit effectively. So I'm just to the point now where it's like, you know what? If you love the show, I appreciate the support. But financially, we got to start doing some things to and Kamar, we've been doing free for everybody for the longest. Like, we've always promoted so many people have been on this show that I actually have forgotten. And my brother Eagle Eyes and I were going through the YouTube page, and he was just like, dude, it's 300 shows on our YouTube page. 300. Okay. So dig that. Crystal Ship said Axe Housing is doing an amazing job of purchasing properties so that the rich out-of-town real estate investors can't buy them and charge $3,000 for rent. Axe is putting those that wouldn't normally be able to purchase homes in them. Okay. I just, like I said, and my comment in regards to that, Crystal, was just that the market is so inflated right now, and it's bound to burst. It can't get like the way it is now, because what you eventually end up having is a bunch of properties sitting unoccupied and nobody to purchase them. And then it bursts. And so the values drop, and then people can jump in again. You know what I'm saying? What you should be able to do when you purchase a home is buy the home and invest in the home to make it worth more, so that if you ever had to want to sell it or you want to pass it down, it still has value. Why the fuck would I pass my kids a home with a upside down mortgage, or that needs all these hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of repairs and they can't fix it? I mean, it's like handing somebody that's nothing. But yeah, I said, man, I slowly but surely through Outlaw Radio, I am able to kind of renew my faith a lot of times because I do meet people on here who are actively out in the community, and I appreciate the support that people give us, even just as kind of like this underground entity, because they respect the real and they want to hear the truth. So that kind of restores my faith, Kamar. But for a long time, man, I really felt like people say, "Well, I never see you no more." Look, even with the hood, this is just me as a dude from the hood. I lost a lot of faith in the hood, right? Like but I've seen my brothers in the
Hey,
hood.
Kev, I'm in total agreement with you. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I just feel like after so long, you know what I mean? Like we expect others to grow as we grow, but you know what I mean? We can't do that. You know what I mean? And then that's like I say, that's where the expectations. If we stop having these expectations for others, you know what I'm saying? Like shit, man, it's fucked up. Like I'm in total agreement with you.
I expect you not to fly past me doing 70 with a spare on your car with no, you know what I mean? Like
you straight up, man. Not even a spare, a donut.
Right, that's what I'm saying. A donut, and I expect my minimal expectation is I'm out driving my car. You respect me and my shit, and don't damn near kill me. And
right.
I'm not saying be a perfect driver or anything. I'm not talking about the condition of your automobile. I'm saying your behavior behind the wheel. And I say, right. Is it too much for me to expect for a motherfucker not to do that?
Nah,
I don't know if know if people have looked at these bump outs, and I still want to see if any data was collected to see if these bump outs actually made the streets safer. But if you look at a lot of them on Capitol in particular, they are marked and scarred up. People are running into it. I seen some with the signs on them knocked down. There's car parts hanging around. So I'm like, so is this shit working or not? It seemed like people running into these shits. So it was a dumbass idea in the first place to me. But I just, when I see this, I say, I don't think that shit working. Because on Capitol in particular, they scuffed to hell and back. Like,
hey, one thing about them though, Kev, you ain't got to worry about nobody coming baselining on you 70 miles per hour right there. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's I feel like it's more cons than it is pluses.
But that's one of the consequences, Kamar, of not having expectations. Like, they ain't gonna do right, just put the speed out up there and just let them run into it and fuck themselves up. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what happens when there's no expectations, right? Like, you say, why you build a big ass fence and put boulders around your building? Because I can't trust people to not dry their shit up on my lawn, right? Or come in here and do whatever to the people who. When you have no expectations, that's what happens. And who ends up paying for it? The people who actually have expectations. So should you give up or shouldn't you? Some people just say, fuck it, I'm moving.
I'm just saying this is why we had no faith, because you know what I mean? That's why.
I hear you, bro.
We should have expectations, yeah. We want people to do better. We want everybody to do better. I mean, so yeah, we should. I was just saying the key to happiness is being able to not expect nothing from nobody, not expect shit. You know what I mean? It ain't easy. That ain't nothing that I'm working on, but it's just one of the keys, man.
I think one of the key factors for me that really just gives me kind of a little bit more peace of mind is to be really focused on myself and saying to myself, I really need to keep rising, right? Like I have to, like, instead of putting those expectations on other people, I've just kind of turn them inward and say, no, man, you got to take care of business. Like you got more time behind you than you do in front of you. At this point, it's time to really start taking care of business. And I found that helped me more, and not being so, I guess, sensitive to would be the word. Because at one point I was sensitive to the shit that was happening in the community. Like, oh man, I'm out here. We going to these rallies. We going to these marches. We going to these protests, and people still fucking each other up. And it started to really just grind on me. And I just had to say, you know what? I'm tired for no reason. I'm tired for no reason. And I'm starting to be jaded because I'm starting to look at my own people with a side eye. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I just had to step away from it.
Kev, I feel like it's part of evolution too. You know what I mean? It's just how evolution works. It's always got to be somebody for that fight. You know what I mean? Eventually, you grow out of that and grow your fight is somewhere else. You know what I mean? And then you got some other people to grow into that spot.
Yeah, I think the energy went more into Outlaw Radio and the People's Network, and I think it was well placed and well directed. Because since I got back to that, to me, the show has flourished. And so, and that I realized that's probably where you should have been the whole time. But I had been doing it for a very long time and I wasn't out and about involved. So I said, you can't just sit here on the microphone. Yeah, get out there. And when I went out there, I said, oh shit. Let me back in. You jumped off the porch, but you couldn't get back on. Hey, no, I'm gonna come see you tomorrow, Kamar. So I can get my watermelon juice for my son. And so what else? I know you got the House of Vitality popping. Any end of the summer festivals you rocking with this weekend?
Fondy Market. Every Saturday I'll be at the Fondy Market. I really ain't trying. They looking for me down there. Ever since we was on the news down there at the Fondy Market, man, there's been people coming down there looking for me.
There you go.
So I'm trying to be there.
There you go.
Every Saturday. Saturdays from 9 to 1:30.
Okay.
9 to 1:30.
You'll see the ads for the show pick up this week as the week goes on into the weekend. You're gonna see us promoting our YouTube page. You're gonna see me promoting sponsorship opportunities. And I'm just a firm believer that it takes all of us to kind of make this thing work. And business is business. And in some regards, I've never meant the truth. I've never wanted to commoditize the truth because I don't think you put a price tag on it. But I think at this point, our show has grown to the point where there's some financial investment needed. And so, like I say, if you want to really see a platform grow that represents you and has your voice and your interests and conversation that's pertinent towards our people and not worrying about the other side that can't be canceled, any of that, holler at me. Let's promote what you're doing. Today is let me get Mama Jenkins before I go into my closing. Mama Jenkins said that's exactly what I'm talking about, KB. I get really sick of trying to march and being everywhere. MC Townsend asked Kamar, do we have pimp juice? He said you got some pimp juice.
For sure.
Okay. Well, y'all stop by the Sherman Phoenix and get y'all some pimp juice, right?
Yeah.
Today is September 13th, 2023, and this is I don't like to say anniversary, but this is the day, I guess, Tupac Shakur, was he shot today or did he die today? One of the two. It's the commemoration of Tupac. I think it's his death. Because he was shot on like the 7th and he died like 6 days later. So we'll say it's his death. And I talked about Tupac the other day. People still talk about Tupac 30 years later, and the man's been dead for 30 years, right? 27 years, I believe he's been dead.
They teach classes on Tupac.
There's classes in universities about Tupac Shakur. There are movies and documentaries. There's a whole industry on YouTube right now where all people do is go in there and talk about things related to Tupac. This dude is more iconic than any other entertainer we ever had, right? And we have some doozies, right? From, Charlie Bird Parker and Coltrane to Marvin Gaye and James Brown and all these prolific artists who changed the world with their art. Nobody had as big an impact as this brother. And so I was talking about Kanye West the other night about him saying that Tupac was overrated and that he was just an actor and this and that. And it was funny. We made jokes about it. And that's not, and I said, I didn't really think that Kanye was on his level. Now, Kanye's had some songs. He's made some statements here and there. And so have many other artists, but none of them have ever had the singular impact that Tupac Shakur did. Right. And so with the 50th anniversary of hip hop, I think his death, this date means a little bit. It takes me back a little bit more than it normally does every other year, because I think about hip hop was never really the same after the brother was killed. For me, the feeling of hip hop, maybe at some Devin the Dude albums here and there, maybe a couple of those. some singular efforts that I heard after that, but the energy of it, the hope that there would be a movement in which Black people would kind of stand up and get the monkey off our back, which is something that this man always was about, right? And so I just think that everybody should take into consideration, and like, because I hear people say, "Well, I never was really into his music, or he wasn't my favorite rapper or whatever." But I think you should just look at his total impact to see that culturally his influence is still all over everything. And like people say, well, who's the new Pac? You don't even hear people say who's the new Martin Luther King or who's the new Malcolm X. Everybody, who's the new Pac? Who's the new Pac? Never be another one. And I think when I look at him, this conversation we just had about expectations and really landing on the line and being here and out here for the people. We see Sean Moore's home now, and he's laid it out for the people, and you go through all this stress and struggle, and then only to be disappointed and feel like it's all for nothing and it's a waste of time, and you probably should have been doing something else in the first place. Man, it can be draining. So to those people, I would say, man, when you can't look nowhere else, look within and try to figure out what was your original motivation in the first place, and then adjust and move differently towards the same destination, but maybe you need to move differently. Like my brother said, you shouldn't have expectations, or maybe you should learn how to deal with the expectations that you do have so that they won't drive you crazy when other people don't meet them. Either way it go, if you start sitting and thinking and really summing things up and doing this kind of real deep dive on who you are destined to get better, man. You're destined to get better. And like my brother Kamar says, everybody can't go. And anybody that is in this city right now that is a person of color that ain't interested in beginning to hold politicians accountable, beginning to hold each other accountable, being committed to keeping our neighborhoods clean, being committed to raising our children, being committed to being vocal about mistreatment and injustices. If you're not committed to Black people being better and being better as a Black person, your mama should be ashamed and your daddy should have pulled out. Shout out to Willie D, man. Peace and love. Outlaws for life. I see y'all Monday night.